Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Georgia Street Fighter 5 Scene Community Podcast Discussion Group. I am your moderator for this event, ShadowAce, and of course, first I want to thank SirRetro for agreeing to host this discussion. The reason why I have assembled you all here this evening is to get your views and opinions on the overall Street Fighter 5 Georgia scene and just Street Fighter 5 in general. The game has been out for about 6 years now, and that's quite a long time for the next installment drops. Maybe we'll get some information on that later this year or maybe next year, who knows? But each of you, you guys might have different views towards the game and the community in general, and just an opportunity to express yourself in a constructive manner. But yeah, let's start off first by introducing our panel for this evening. I'll go first. My name is Shadow Ace. I am an ed player. I am also a commentator here within Georgia, and I also commentate other online events for about 2 years since the pandemic began. Since we all transitioned to online, I started to work for various different types of events that hit me up. And I want to say big shout outs to Alex Dot Dot, who put me up on some of these events that asked me to comment. Without him, I just don't know where I would be at for my career. So I owe a lot to him. He's one of our local blocker players here in the scene. So big ups to him for hitting us up, hit me up about that. And next up on our panel, we got two new special guests, two new special guests for episode two. So two is new. So two is new. So first of all, I want to introduce one of the founding members of Gwinnett Brawl, Dapvip, the Cami player, Dapvip. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you guys for inviting me. I'm happy to be here. Um, just happy to even just talk about the FGC. Even though I'm no longer part of Georgia, it's still always in my heart. I'll be thinking about you guys every day. If you guys aren't aware, I moved from Georgia to Kansas back in 2020 due to the pandemic. Got some family relatives that here to set me up. But now I have my own place and just trying to get my life back together to the point where I can move back to Georgia. So, um, just keep on, wishing me luck and wishing me well. Again, I'm ready to get this show on the road. So, happy to be able to talk about my passion and things I love, which is fighting games.
Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. Hope everything's going well out there in the big KC for you. There is that VIP. And next up, will be joining us on our panel today is we have KB. Actually, you know what? Even though his name is KB, he hasn't been playing the Birdman, yo. He hasn't been playing no Birdman lately. I mean KF. Can we say KF
Bro,
now?
you
King
real
Falk.
disrespectful, man. You real disrespectful. That's all I'm gonna say,
King
man.
Falk.
That's very
Oh
disrespectful.
my
You know,
gosh.
I was gonna talk about y'all having that fault pitch up there, but we gonna talk about that later, man. I appreciate y'all having me on the show, man. Like you said, I'm KB, man. Founder, CEO of Happy Accidents Media, podcast host of Words with KB podcast. I'm a sometime streamer, sometime game show host. Sometimes I'm a DM whisperer for the fellas if you need it. You know what I'm saying? But these guys know me as KB or King Birdie, okay? King Birdie. You know what I'm saying?
Bird
So
D.
very disrespectful y'all put that picture up there, but hey, do y'all thing, you know what I'm saying? It's y'all show.
All right, shout outs to KB. Thank you so much for joining us. And then of course the producer of the stream for this evening, Sir Retro. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good. I just, like I said, I was telling everybody else, I just came back from the Augusta Guard Break tournament, and like I said, it really ties into this with the idea of these, seeing, encouraging, encountering the players, who share the history alongside with KB and that Vip, that they're also part of the people that helped bring Street Fighter, into make Street Fighter what it was for the Georgia community. And I'm also, but introduce myself for those who don't know. I am SirRetro. I am the Middle Georgia tournament organizer, and I pretty much more recent as for the past. I'm more the more latest ish kind of tournament organizer, as ShadowAce and KB and Dapvip preceded me. So definitely still learning, still diving into the history and stuff, and I'm still trying to grow a scene of my own in our area even more. And of course, with the help of these guys that I'm hosting for, definitely it's definitely growing for the better. So
Indeed, indeed. Well, all right. Thank you guys so much for those wonderful introductions. Yeah, and once again, thank you guys for so much for joining us on the second episode of this series. I know this weekend people traveled to Faustings, and KB, you just came back from traveling for your birthday. Happy belated.
Appreciate it.
Um, and speaking of traveling, I haven't seen you guys in quite a long time, man. At least 2 years since the pandemic began. And I know that it is quite some time away before from the offline local competitive scene, and as everybody's transitioning over to the online world, we're starting. I started to see a glimpse of hope at Frosty Faustins from when I was watching the stream. I was watching the streams of the events. Street Fighter Five was very interesting. Had a lot of new players in like the top 24 and top eight. Like you saw a lot of different names. Some of those players may have just came just from an online environment and managed to go offline, was able to go to this event and do their thing. So the spirit is out there, man, for the game still happening. No, offline is definitely the more favorable for a lot of our players here. But we'll just have to take it one at a one day at a time as we move forward, man. I know that offline is definitely. I feel like it's coming back because SirRetro, he just came back from Augusta Guard break last weekend. And let me ask you, SirRetro, how was it when you went out there?
oh man, it wasn't a whole lot of people as last time, but it's like every time I go there, it's really interesting because for me, not knowing too much about the history of the FGC in general and in Georgia, to really and then recently the Augusta, for example, they really just started reemerging after so long, and I actually managed to talk to some of the guys that like Koos and Drew during our matches because I competed in Marvel vs. Capcom and competed in Street Fighter, and of course Atlanta came through. Shout out to Neon, Alex Dot Dot, and many, Nas Re-Up as well. They came through, but a whole lot of time we actually were having discussions and talking about hey, y'all guys played. You used to play this game like 10 years ago. You used to play Marvel, 2 or Street Fighter 4 and stuff like that. And that experience every time I go to Augusta, along with Atlanta or any other place, like in the state, I always get a moment to share to talk about the history of the scene, and how like it grown, and then bringing like our guys from Middle Georgia who can compete. One of our new guys I'm training that he went against some of these. He went against Drew and Neon and them, and of course I was trying to give him tips and so forth, and then even then they beat him really badly, but but the fact that they really was like sharing a lot of the knowledge and how to play and how to do this and that, and it was really cool to kind of have that way to pass on that torch and that knowledge and that wisdom and so forth from you guys as y'all being the veterans, and me becoming a veteran as well. But it was nice, the fellowship was amazing because like me and Koos was talking trash and doing side bets. No, he was doing side bets for Marvel. He won like he did a quadruple bet I think for Marvel, and it was hilarious. But like yeah, it was just that type of stuff we don't really see anymore in the scene. That type of not too much, but you don't see that type of fellowship and that constant rate. And now we have this new generation of players jumping in, trying to see what's going on, was all about. But it was great. Like everyone had an amazing time. It was good to see some old friends and new ones for sure.
Fellowship was the key word that you said there, and that's literally what it's about. Mixing up the old and new. Always good to see faces, to see everyone doing well. Just if they still have the interest or still playing the game, it's always nice to see them. For sure. So shouts to Augusta Garbreak. We also have a couple of other GA events coming up too, and but I'll dive into those later. But for right now, I got some questions individually that I'm going to ask each one of you here in Pacific, and you can take as much time as you need to answer them. Feel free to express yourself. Again, this is the channel to do so as well. So don't be afraid to not to express yourself. First question, of course, is going to be to Dapvip as one of the founding members of Gwinnett Brawl. Shout out to the Gwinnett Brawl team, Walter, David, Musa, Patrick. A tournament series that will forever remain close to me, just because of how well organized it was ran and how opening the community was for that series. How do you remember what the Street Fighter scene was like back then when y'all first started running it? Like, I think y'all even ran like a beta tournament, or was that just casuals for it back then when the beta was out?
Oh man, well, with that type of introduction, man, it pleases my heart to show that Gwinnett Brawl still got a lot of attachment and emotions and other people besides myself because I also miss GB. But yeah, no, actually, coming up will be our 10-year anniversary. I believe within a week or two, will be our 10-year anniversary of our very first tournament where we had hosted at the
Mm.
bowling alley on Satellite Boulevard. I'm not sure if you guys even remember that.
Mm.
Man, that is
Where we,
taking it
That was
way
2012.
back though.
yeah,
10
2012.
years, yo?
10-year anniversary. Yeah, our very first tournament was inside of a bowling alley on Satellite Boulevard, where right, I think right across where I Love Pho is. Um, and so yeah, Street Fighter 4 was the prime game, was the main entry to get people to come out, but we also hosted Marvel vs. Capcom 3. I believe it was the vanilla version. And then we also hosted one other game. I can't remember. I think it was an anime type game, but I can't for the life of me remember what it was.
Like
But
Blaze
yeah,
Blue
nah,
or
Street.
something?
Hmm?
Probably like Blaze Blue or something, like whenever.
Probably was.
Probably.
And it was funny, like our first tournament, I do believe the winner of Street Fighter 4 was Joseph. I believe it was DB Joseph. You guys remember him?
Oh
Mm,
yeah,
yeah,
Yeah, he
I
had
remember the
beaten
name.
Sakura.
Joel. Yeah, the Sakura player. He had beaten Joel.
Mm.
And yeah, it was cool, man. It was a nice turnout. We had about 50 people that showed up for that event, and it was packed. I enjoyed it. And Street Fighter has always been a mainstay at Gwinnett Brawl. It was one of the games that basically brought our community together no matter what. You saw the fiercest rivalries in that game. That's where Neon Verte, he popped up out of nowhere with his rose and started winning all of our tournaments and gotten Joel a little bit frustrated because Joel was usually the one being dominant. And even going towards Street Fighter V, it still became one of our mainstay games where, we got all the old vets still playing the game. And then we also had newcomers such as, Alex Dot Dot. We also had KB, Isofet, you know. And then even though Terrence also played Street Fighter 4, he came to prominence in Street Fighter
Hmm.
5 as well and winning our tournaments. And and then the scene just continued to grow and evolve with the game itself. Like even if I felt like when that brawl was still going on today, it would probably strengthen our resolve in Street Fighter 5, and we probably would have been competing with East Coast, New York, and California in Capcom Cup. We could have had a representative being part of Capcom Cup this year if if Gwinnett Brawl was still around.
Hey man, Georgia was strong because of Gwinnett Brawl, bro.
100%. I felt like we could have been like the rival to NLBC. I
Exactly,
felt
we
like we
could
was. I
have.
felt like we were there. We were
Hmm.
there. We could have been there.
Yeah, no, we had highly talented players within our scenes. And like, yeah, Neon Verte, like his Colleen, I felt like was one of the best Colleens in the country
For
besides
sure,
Nephew,
for
right?
sure.
And then you also had Joel, he was pretty dominant in the game. Terrence was making noises, getting top
Yeah,
8 at a lot of
hell yeah.
majors with this Chun
Mm.
Li. Even the Japanese players was respecting Terrence's name.
Hmm.
So, like Georgia has always been a powerhouse in the fighting game community, and I felt like we could have been up there. It's just sad and frustrating because in that brawl, there was various reasons as to why we had to shut it down. But it was a
Mm.
wonderful thing to see. Such players coming from small beginnings and then working their way up to the top, so it was really cool.
Yeah, when I saw the tweet saying that Gwinnett Brawl was closing his doors, I was like, nah, this gotta be a joke, right? This is hold on, let me make sure this is the official account. I had to do a refresh. Hold on, I think I'm seeing things. And then I had to read it carefully. I had to read it again. I said, and then I saw the post under it. I said, thank you for all the memories and all this other stuff. I said, oh my God,
Mm,
no, it's happening. It's happening. Oh
yeah,
no.
that was crazy.
But that's that
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 was
that
wild.
that venue was just so important, man. It made people network, made people network. People got friends, for the lifelong friends from there. Like a lot of relationships came out of Gwinnett Brawl. Just a lot of rich history, for that entire series. And then with all the collaboration that Gwinnett Brawl did with other events and things like that, people are not going to forget Gwinnett Brawl, man. They're not going to forget that. That's a name that's still going to ring close to people's hearts 10 years from now. 10 years, you ask me the same question about what are your, one of your fondest memories in Georgia's like tournament wise. I'm gonna say Gwinnett Brawl. I'm gonna just say that. I'm gonna be an
For
old
sure.
man in my rocking chair saying some Gwinnett Brawl,
For
looking at old
sure.
videos or something. But yeah, man, that's it's big shout outs to Gwinnett Brawl for breeding a lot of really strong and talented players, and just forming a lot of relationships and bonds from there. Um, KB, question for you. I
Yo.
remember you mentioning that Street Fighter Five is like one of your first Street Fighters that you play competitively, or is it like the first fighting game in general that you picked up?
No, so I played Street Fighter 2 when it first came out, you know what I'm saying? So, I've been on that. I always play I always love fighting games, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm talking about I think when we got Street Fighter 2 and like whenever it was in the early 90s, whatever, it was a Christmas gift. I think that shit was $80, bro. Like that shit was a
Mm,
real live price, you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
it was a real price, like that's higher than games are today, you know what I'm saying? So
Them
and
Super
so I
Nintendo
always been on
carts.
fighting games, like even what was it, Karate Champ, bro. Like it was on that, you know what I'm saying? And I forgot that other game. It was Karate Champ, and there was another game on Nintendo, I think. But I always loved them, but I never went deep enough. I was in the country, you know what I'm saying? So it wasn't really no communities around us, you know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
we had a little spot in Valdosta called the Fun Factory, and like it was mostly like people passing through, you know what I'm saying? So you might goddamn see somebody come in there and goddamn do a combo you ain't never seen before. You're like, how the fuck they did that? And then you don't never see it no more. You know what I'm saying? So, like I guess that's my first introduction to fighting games, but never like I never knew what frame data was or nothing. You know what I'm saying? We was just kind of playing. Like it was little tournaments and we was just kind of playing. But once I used to watch Evo all the time, but once I got to Atlanta and shit, I'm like, man, it's a tournament right down the road. You know what I'm saying? And I said when they announced Street Fighter 5, I said, well, I'm going to the next Evo. I don't care if I know no if I don't care if I don't know nobody. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
shit, I went to that next Evo, and that's when I was just in the playing, and I met some people from Georgia, and that was kind of it.
Oh
Just
wow,
random. Yeah, that shit was random.
wow. So you met people from Georgia at Evo. It's
At
like, yo,
Evo.
you from Georgia? You from Georgia? Yeah, I'm from
Yeah,
Georgia. All right, link
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Okay.
Hmm. That's cool.
It
Ain't
was
that
it
weird,
was
right? You're
old
one of
buddy.
your first tournaments to go to one of the biggest tournaments of
Yeah,
all.
man,
That's
it
a
was
big
old
ass
buddy.
Like my
introduction.
first tournament was a playing trade, all right?
Bro, it
Like,
was old
Oh
buddy.
my god.
It was old buddy who do the tournaments in
oh
Georgia.
man.
Not Gwinnett Brawl, but
Hmm. I'm trying to think. There's like ATL Revival. That was one
nah,
big tournament, and there
nah.
there
They
was
they
a
was
Funky
doing like
P Battle
locals.
and Brew. Are you thinking of
Nah,
Battle
they
and
was
Brew
doing
maybe?
locals though. They was doing more, not Yomi.
No, yeah, it wasn't Yomi. Yomi didn't wasn't around back then. I
Bro,
think
they still doing tournaments. They was at what you
Data,
call it?
Data
Yeah, it
FGC.
was that. It was
Four four.
old buddy who
Data.
over data.
Oh yeah. Okay. I
That's
know
what.
you talking
That's
about
why I met at
Marco.
Evo.
Yeah,
Yeah, I met
Marco.
Marco at Evo.
Okay.
Hmm.
Gotcha. Yeah. I think I remember
Wow.
this.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Okay,
remember this.
you met Marco at Evo,
Yep.
and then that's
Nice.
how
Wow.
he.
And that was that
Yo,
Evo where Street Fighter 5 was crazy. It had like
Hmm.
2000. It was like a crazy number. I was like,
Okay, yeah,
bro.
Yomi was around that time period. Okay.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
I ended up at Yomi at one point too.
Gotcha.
I ain't know what the fuck that was.
wow.
Hearing all them stories, I was like, that's crazy, bro.
That's a
Yeah,
godlike
man.
introduction.
Yeah,
Sheesh.
Exactly. I'm happy. Yeah.
Hell yeah, that's what's
It's
up, man.
crazy though. That was you go to the biggest tournament and a coincidence just a happenstance. And
man.
you
I
found
was,
The
somebody
man
who
sold a
was well
data shirt.
acclimated.
bro, and I was
Hmm.
chasing Street Fighter 5, bro. When they had the
Yeah.
demos in what's the theme park?
Six
Six
Flags.
Flags. Yeah, they
Yeah.
had the demos at Six Flags. I'm at the
I
demos
remember
playing that game,
that.
bro.
Yo.
Bro. I was chasing Street Fighter 5, boy. I said I'm getting into this game. I don't care what happens.
Cool, cool. That reminds us back in the day
Wow.
when Marvel 3 first came out, they had a little test venue before the game came out that Shin Blanca was hosting. We was part of it, and I remember they had it at this crappy warehouse. It
At
looked
that
like a
warehouse
haunted.
when they had the
Yeah,
cosplayers.
yeah. It
Yeah,
looked
the
like
cosplayers
It
did.
looked like a haunted mansion
Kind of
type warehouse.
house. Had the little
It was
EK and stuff
hilarious,
like that.
man.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
I remember
Hmm.
that. That's where everybody came through, man. But yo,
Exactly.
big shout outs to that, man. So what made you pick this game up and play it seriously? And like, how did you get to the level where you are with your characters, KB?
Man, I got tired of just being a spectator, man. I was like, man, I know how to play this game, or I thought I knew how to play it. You know what I'm saying? I be trying to pull up my little Street Fighter 4 stats, but I can't ever find them. But I felt like they was good for not knowing nothing. But anyway, I mean, bro, it was the same stuff. He was talking about with Gwinnett Brawl, man. Like that that competition, that fire, man, that shit's built at those locals, man. Like where you seeing these people, bro. I really was there to I was there to fuck up a lot of people, man. Joel on that list, and like when I ain't know nothing, man, I was like, man, I just want to beat that guy. You know what I'm saying? And that was at those Southeast battles, all of those, man. I like, man, I'm gonna beat that guy, man. So I'm practicing 14 hours a day, bro. Like ask Terrence, bro. I'm playing dudes. I was playing. I didn't even know who it was. I was playing. What's the Akuma name? The fire Akuma player in
I'm trying
U.S.
to remember. We had a couple of Akuma players.
No, not
I
in
know
Atlanta. I'm
Well,
talking about
going
he the
wild,
best.
ain't
He like the best Akuma in the U.S.
Samurai.
Yeah, Samurai. I'm playing. I didn't know who he was.
Huh.
Mm.
But he was messaging me saying, "Oh, you pretty good." You know what I'm saying? Blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know who he was. You know what I'm saying? So then I met Terrence at one of them GameStop tournaments because I had beat Terrence, but I only beat him because Terrence had messed up. But I beat him. You know what I'm saying? So I like cool. I know he was hard because when I started like winning a little bit, people will come over like, dang, he look like he winning. Like I'm like, wait,
Yeah,
what you
Birdie was
mean?
carrying you. That's what he
Yeah,
meant. Nice.
that's all right. But you know what I'm saying? So, I'm telling you, man, those GameStop tournaments, them, all them little battles, man, them locals, that's why I got the fire to get better. So I'm like, man, and anytime I play somebody online, if I lost to them, I'm sending them an invite. Like it don't every single person I lost to online, I was sending them an invite, man. So I was spending, 14-hour days trying to figure out like, okay, what's this framed out? Like what this mean? Like I was messaging Terrence all the time, like, hey bro, what this mean? Like, why I can't do that? What's a safe jump? All that shit, bro. And I'm still learning. I'm still learning a lot of stuff. I still message Terrence about some stuff. But
Nice. That's
that's
real
what it
good.
was.
Real good.
okay. That's what's up, man. That you just had the mentality, that hunger, that fight within you, and that passion, and that's some players, they're born with that. They have that type of drive, and some don't, and that's okay. That's okay, man. Everybody
Get
won't
it how they
can't
get
get
it,
to that
man.
level mentally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you just grinding, consistently grinding. Even if you lose, you go back, you will probably watch your replays. Dang, I could have did this right here. I could have, so I can do this in this situation after you hit trainer mode, and that's how that's how you level up. That's how I had to grind myself to try to get better with my character. Like, dang, why am I getting
Mm.
hit and stuff like that? And that's a part of it. That's a part of it. And also, on top of that, I remember you because you brought up Southeast battles, and that's taking it back too. That's like what, season 2? Was that season 2 for Southeast Battles? When
Probably.
that went
It was so
back in
long
the
ago.
day?
I do remember that Guy was still available. Like Guy was available during that time period. So
Okay,
I would
so
have to imagine it was season 2.
That's
yeah,
where I got
that's
my name at
typically
one of them Southeast battles.
yeah. So that's gonna be okay. So that was like your breakout event then, right? Like where
Yeah.
when
Yeah,
people
Southeast
started
battle.
like, like who this KB dude? Who is this
Mm-hmm.
KB? Who is this?
That was
KB
it, bro.
who?
Yeah, Nas
Yeah,
upset.
that was it.
Nas upset. Oh, you're that guy. you was
Yeah.
that guy. You was that guy. So he's like, oh, he
Yeah,
remember
man.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
Miles said
Okay,
it's
Milo,
season
Milo
2.
said, yeah, season two. Okay, yeah. Okay, so it was season 2 then. And then also on top of that, like you went to you went to the Red Bull Proving Grounds, the team tournament 3v3 regional, you, Terrence, and
Ice
Ice
Effect.
Effect.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
dope, man.
that was like
It was
and
crazy.
that was from Southeast Battles, right? I think it was like the top 3 get to
Yeah,
go
one of
out
the
and
seasons when
represent.
they did the teams, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
that was dope, man. Like, yeah, that was really dope, man. Like, you know, being able to see all the top 3 competitors from all the different regions. You know, I guess because I guess the fighting game community was very region based. You know, East versus West, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it's very interesting to see all those people together and like see how you perform at a bigger level. You know what I'm saying? Because it's different playing at your locals than playing in a tournament and how big that tournament is, man. Like it gets really intense.
Yeah, because y'all was going out there, y'all was representing the state and the region for the Georgia Street Fighter Five community as a whole. And when those events was happening, like the Southeast ranking battles, there were a lot of people, man. There were a lot of players back then. Do you remember Black White Boy, the Rashid?
Man,
I
yeah,
think
yeah. I remember that dude, man. Hey,
yo, he was gross, man. He was
bruh,
yeah, his Rashid
what do you
was
mean when you
legit
say gross?
gross, man. Like good.
No,
Good.
He was,
no,
he
no,
was coming
Good.
into our tournaments
no,
with a white T-shirt on,
no.
and he
Yo,
just came
check,
in, took our
Dre,
money,
He
and just
won.
did.
Andre,
He
check,
won. He
check.
won one of the
Dre was trash, bro, and I'll tell Dre this in his face. Dre was
Dre,
trash, bro.
Dre
We just
Gangster was
didn't
the
know the
original
game, bro.
name.
Dre
Yeah,
McGangster or something.
Dre Gangster. That
he
was his original name.
Yeah.
Dre
didn't
Gangster.
he
Yo,
win like a couple of those?
yo,
He
he
won
was
like a couple of
trash
those,
though. We
right?
just didn't know. And
Oh
I'm
yeah,
looking
I
back.
forget
I
he
was
was
looking.
on the
Okay, the game
Rashid.
was still young and
It
it was
was
still
young,
new,
and
and
he
no
was
one
just.
knew how to like maneuver around Rashid's offense because everyone thought that the tornado was just hella plus and that you couldn't do anything, you couldn't check him, and so you would just end up in the corner and you just get shimmied and thrown to death. That was the
That's
game
Yeah,
plan.
what
he
the
was
gameplay
trash, bro.
was.
He was trash.
Yo,
He was trash, bro. Cause I had played him like I don't know, it was like a couple years ago, but it's after okay, now I know how to play the game and shit. And I'm like, oh, this dude was trash, man. Like he didn't know he was just doing Rashid stuff, and we just didn't know what to do. So we were like, oh, he
got
must be good if he winning, you know. So I was like, that's interesting.
so basically the level up once the grinding started happening, once y'all took it to the lab and be like, hold up, bro, this ain't real.
Yeah,
This ain't real. What
that
is
brother,
this?
yeah, that was everything was fraudulent about that guy, man. Not I'm saying Street
Wow.
Fighter, and I don't know
No.
him personally now, but I'm saying
Oh
his
no.
play was fraudulent.
He said, okay, so once y'all figured it out, then his reign of terror came to an end. That's what
Hey,
happened, yo.
hey, he faded
Keep it
away. It
to it.
wasn't because he stopped playing. He started losing, man. He
Oh,
started losing,
dang.
then he faded away.
Dang, bro. He said, y'all don't retire the man, yo?
No, I ain't
Oh,
saying that.
man.
I'm saying, once you start losing in Street Fighter 5, it's not fun anymore, bro.
It's not fun anymore when you
It's
start
not
losing.
fun, bro.
And you just find, and honestly, what it is too is that you might find something else that piques your interest. So it just kind of take you off the game, and you never know. You might have that itch to come back again. So
Yeah, you
I
might.
did run into Dre a couple years ago online, so it's not like he stopped playing.
Yeah.
So
How did
but
the match go? How did the match go though?
I kind of wrecked him, but I
You see what
mean,
I'm saying?
he stopped
Oh my
playing.
goodness.
So he
That's dope,
good.
bro. That's
I mean,
dope.
see
But
here, Milo already saying
yeah,
that. Yeah, he doing some better
that's
things.
dope.
He's doing the bigger
Hey,
and better things. So
that's dope. But he's
ain't no
still
hate on
trash
that.
though. I'm glad he got all that. But he was still trash. I'm glad he got all that though.
I'm happy for your degree, but you still trash. Yeah.
I'm just saying the
But
game,
just,
bro. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah. That's that's what's up, man. But yeah, we had a lot of there was a lot of players from back then, man, that just like kind of just vanished over time. Because I remember the Southeast battles. We had a couple of names in there. I know it was like at least a 20 to 30 man bracket for that. At least more. I know it's
Man,
more than 20. I know it was more than
man,
20 back then.
man. We could have been really strong, man. We would have kept at it, man. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I can't blame Gwinnett Brawl for that. You know what I'm saying? But something happened in
Yeah,
Georgia,
man. Like I
and
tried to pass the torch off to 404 Esports. That was my plan. Was after I stopped, doing locals of Gwinnett Brawl at Wasteland Dojo, I transitioned it to hosting it at 404. And at
mm,
first, it worked well. Like people showing support, coming out to it and everything like that.
mm,
But even before the pandemic, because you can't blame it on the pandemic either. Even before the pandemic, we started seeing less turnout at 404.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then I don't know if it's because like people just kind of got a little stale of the game,
mm-hmm,
or people just kind of felt like um, they're not going to get any better or improvement, or I don't know,
Now,
man.
why?
There's
it
so
was a
many
lot of
different.
Capcom fault. It was a lot of
Hmm.
Capcom fault.
Yeah, so uh yeah, it's hard to say exactly what the main issue was. I wouldn't even say it's like the game's fault as well, because people were
You
still
wouldn't?
coming out to Gwinnett Brawl weeklies,
Man, that
when we were
I
hosting it at Wasteland. Like we all are still showing up support for it. So
yeah, but
um
that game, man, a lot of the decisions Capcom made, they rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, man. Like without a
yeah,
clear plan.
the decisions that Capcom has made had turned a lot of people off the game.
Yeah,
And but I feel like the game has gotten to a much better place than it is now, but it's too little too late,
hey,
unfortunately.
yeah, you done
Mm-hmm.
burned the bridge now. They
And
didn't
let
care.
the
So
sour taste in people's mouths, sour taste in the players' mouths.
yeah, so
Exactly.
Literally.
I don't know why they don't think like, hey, our customers have memories, dog. We remember this stuff, man.
mm-hmm.
People so loyal to Street Fighter. I mean, it's crazy, how loyal we are to Street Fighter.
And
You
honestly, the
know,
FGC lives and dies by Street Fighter. It doesn't
and
matter
yeah,
what type of game
yeah,
comes out, because
yeah,
everyone thought that Guilty Gear Strive was going to be the new hotness and
yeah.
everything, which is, I mean, it's still a
And
popular game,
is it not a
but
better game? Is it not
but
a better
yeah,
game
it
than
is.
Street
I
Fighter?
feel like it could. Yeah, it is a better game than Street Fighter Five, but it still doesn't have the notoriety or the
Yeah,
popularity that Street Fighter Five has, which is crazy, right?
yeah, that's kind of
Street Fighter
crazy.
Five, everyone continues to complain about
They
it,
hate it. The
but we're
last
still
6 years,
here
dog.
playing it and watching
It's a love
tournaments.
hate relationship.
Yeah,
6 year
Yeah.
love hate
the
relationship.
last, but a lot of people
Hmm.
got out. A lot of people
Yeah.
got out, man. Think about the players that you see now. Like I'm watching these these new tournaments that are happening,
Hmm.
and you seeing who in top 8. It's like we missing a whole gap of players. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So usually, ain't nothing against those players who are making those top 8s. You know what I'm saying? Like you
Mhm.
compete, it is what it is. But we used to have a gap of players between who you seen in top 8 and top 16. They not playing right. They not playing anymore.
I think I see
You know what
what
I'm
you're talking
saying?
about, like the player base,
Like
the
that who was that? And nothing against this guy, man. Who was that Falk that was playing in Frosty?
Pokey. Yeah, no, I get
Okay.
you.
You know what I'm
No,
saying?
so
Those
here we
guys
go.
usually got
Here we go.
filtered
So
out
we're gonna go to the
in
present now, or we're not gonna talk about the past anymore, right? So if we're gonna talk about the present, then yeah, Street Fighter Five, the level of competition has definitely dropped off. Like there's no getting
yeah.
around that. And
Whoa, really?
yeah, it
I'm
has
sorry. Go
dropped
ahead. Go
off.
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Like, so
I
the reason
believe it.
why the level of competition is like what KB is saying, some of the higher level players is kind of, switch gears. They're trying to, moving into other things
And
and
you
just
even
waiting for
talk
Street
from
Fighter
Street
6 to
Fighter
come out.
and you're really
Hmm.
even talking from Street Fighter 4 to Street Fighter 5 because a lot of the Street Fighter
But
4 players
and
dropped
also
off coming
I,
into Street Fighter
I
5.
think part of it too, it does have to do with the pandemic. A lot of the top players have stopped traveling to tournaments because of COVID, right? So they don't want to play online. Like you see, Terrence is a prime example of those type of players, right?
Yeah.
Like he's definitely one of those type of players that you're talking about, KB, that will consistently make top 16 or top 8
Mm-hmm.
at tournaments and majors, but you don't
Mhm.
see him anymore. Now,
Yeah.
why is that? Well, because he doesn't like playing online, which he has a valid excuse,
Yeah.
and he's not going out because of COVID.
Yeah.
So that's one of the main reasons. That when you see all the mid-level players who never stopped playing Street Fighter V, they don't care
Yeah.
about the pandemic or anything like that,
Yeah.
and they're still grinding online. Like you see the Reddit
Yeah.
Street Fighter tournaments, like those tournaments, I should not be getting second place. All right, let's be real. Like I feel like I am a good Street Fighter V player. I
Yeah.
do feel like I'm good, but I don't think I'm
You
on the
are.
level of IDOM, Shine, Punk. I'm not on their level. No, like that's why I don't consider the Reddit Street Fighter tournaments anything special. Like they're not special because
I
those
feel
are
like
just
they are special.
but those are
It's
just
some tough
mid-level players.
competition, but there's some tough
hmm
competition in the
hmm
Reddit tournaments and the NLBC. I
Yeah, but
mean,
NLBC you have more stiffer competition.
oh, for sure,
But
for sure.
yeah, but you see those mid-level players that are entering those Reddit tournaments, they're the ones that are now going out to majors
Yeah.
and competing and getting top 8. Like, Mono had one CEO, like,
And he was
and
in
he was
he
in
was in
Spain,
top 3,
right?
right? He was in
Yeah,
top 3 in Frosty
yeah,
Frog.
he got third at Frosties, and he plays Spain, and he's usually a player that
He,
has never stopped playing the game.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
he has never
Uh,
stopped grinding the game. He's been
yeah.
playing the game. Like I've been running to him online all the way back in season 1.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
and
Yeah.
so
Yep.
and so those are the type of players right now that
Who
are
are at the
finally
top. Yeah.
that are finding that spotlight, right? They're
Yep.
getting their moment to shine
Yeah.
because those higher level players just kind of stopped playing the game and moved on. So like yeah, like I guess what you can say, I know where you're getting at is because you're watching them play and you're wondering that the entertainment value is kind of like
That's why
dying
you
down,
feel
like,
that. Yeah, that's why you
because
what was that
mhm,
Capcom with the East they just
Midwest,
did? No,
yeah, Midwest tournament,
even East,
yeah,
it
East
wasn't
Coast,
it top 8 was weak. Like
yeah,
what is this? Like you wasn't even
hmm
entertaining. Why? Because it wasn't no. I think all the matches was either 3-0 or it was. I don't know if it was East or
yeah.
another one, but all the matches
hmm
was 3-0. It's like, bro, this ain't even
So
entertaining
the skill
For the
gap
top 8.
is vast.
the skill
It's
gap.
definitely
Yeah,
spread out. I
yeah.
would say between like the top tiers. Because I was even about to comment about it when we were watching Frosties yesterday. Like, because
Yep.
I literally just got through watching Capcom Cup Top 8 in Japan, where you see
Oh,
just
that's
nothing
still
but high level. Yeah,
that's still
exactly. High level. Like, I just went from watching high level Street Fighter to watching just players just
online
pressing
play.
like
It looked
like
like online tournament.
no disrespect to footwork, but there were so many whip
Yeah,
punishes that he
that
just
was
did not do.
that was an
And
online play.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
Mm.
exactly. Like footwork is a really cool guy,
yeah,
but his
yeah. I
Street
like
Fighter
footwork.
level play is not there, right? It's just not
Yeah,
there. It's not on
yeah,
that level. So it really does hurt our scene to see that like that high level play that we were so accustomed to before the pandemic happened. It's just
Hmm.
not there anymore.
You think it hurts
Um,
it?
yeah, it depends
Mm,
because like I said, it does give those mid-level players a moment to shine.
yeah,
Give a little sunlight and let them have their moment, right? So um,
I think
it's hard to say.
I mean, I think like giving them those players the time to shine is gonna be a good long term plan because
hmm
those people are and who are investing in Street Fighter 5, they're
Yeah.
100% going in Street Fighter 6 with
Yes,
full speed ahead.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and
Now,
those are the
and,
people that I've been wanting to have in my exhibitions because you can
yeah,
see that those are the guys, even though they're not good at the game, like you
yeah,
want to say that they're like highly experienced and whatnot, but they
yeah.
care about it and they still have passion for it.
And,
So,
and,
you know,
And I'm telling you, they're gonna come into Street Fighter 6 crazy. And now you're gonna have your influx of those advanced players from Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter 5 coming back.
mhm,
Because everybody's gonna try Street Fighter 6 in the beginning.
true.
So you're gonna have a clash from those mid-level players, those
Yeah,
high mid-level players playing back with those, those
yeah, and then you
old
know
guys
what?
y'all remember.
I can see a situation like what Punk had, right? Because Punk wasn't a dominant Street Fighter 4 player at all by
Mm-hmm.
any means.
Yep.
He played Street Fighter 4, and towards the end of it. And then when Street Fighter 5 came out, like everyone just like he just
now he
popped
on
out of
another
nowhere,
level.
right?
I mean,
Right?
he did
Mhm.
something that broke through the ceiling. You know what I'm saying? Like I think
So-
about like I remember when Punk. I remember, you know, I remember Punk talking trash to me online in the online tournament in the DMs, like you know what I'm saying, in the PlayStation DMs. I think. I'm
So
like,
yeah,
these
so
fools.
it might be someone else's turn, like one of those mid-level
yeah, it
players,
is.
and that might get has
Yeah.
something like a niche in Street Fighter 6 where they can just adapt to the game much faster than everyone
Yep.
else, and then they're
Break
going
through
to
the
be
ceiling.
dominant too.
But
So
what I'm hoping we see a bunch of those people because we, you know, Street Fighter 6. If Street Fighter 6 fail, I think this gonna be their chance to go esports. You know what I'm saying? And for a game this old, for a game with this much royalness, for it not to be esports, you know, they gotta evolve. You know what I'm saying? So, well, I think when that comes, Street Fighter 6 is the opportunity for them to go esports, and
yes,
they
I
kind of
agree
gotta
with you.
make it. They gotta
And
make it this
Capcom
time.
had a taste of it in Street Fighter 5. Like that was I
Yeah.
think that was their intent to begin with Street Fighter
Mhm.
5 was to make it more esports oriented because the
Yep.
game of itself is more faster paced than any other
Faster
Street Fighter
pace,
game.
easy to
Yeah,
play.
like exactly. It's highly entertaining watching crush counters and V triggers
Mhm.
and seeing players make these one pixel comebacks. And
Mhm.
those are exciting, right? Those are
Yep.
things that will get people out of their seats and out of their chairs, screaming, "Oh my god, I can't believe it happened!" Right?
Right.
So I think Street Fighter 5 did accomplish, from an entertainment perspective, their goal. But as a game where players will continue to keep playing and enjoy playing and develop their skills and game, that I feel like that's where they kind of dropped the ball at. And I'm hoping that with Street Fighter 6, like Capcom will kind of go back to their roots to try to make the game more like more welcoming for players to sit down and be in the lab and discover new tech and skills. Because right now you don't really see that many people in training mode finding new things because it's very difficult to do in Street Fighter 5.
Mm. Wow. Wow. Yeah, that's
That was a
the
lot.
uptake here.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
a lot. My
that was
bad.
a lot. No, hey, I let y'all rock, man. I let
Yeah,
y'all
you
rock.
did.
Y'all
Appreciate you,
did the
man.
thing, man. Y'all did the thing. I'm listening to the conversation. I feel like I'm in the chat. I'm like, yo, okay,
Mhm.
this is heat. I hear this heat that y'all spitting out. But yeah, man. Big facts, man. The next generation is definitely coming in. Right now, we see the uptake. I mean, you guys said it already. We see these players now that are going out to these events, getting these placements. They're going to go into Street Fighter 6 full steam ahead, right? Because now they're
Mhm.
getting that tournament level experience, and this is where I would say the replacement starts to happen. You mentioned that, okay, well, this particular player doesn't play no more. They used to be ridiculously strong. Well, guess what? I feel that that next player, that mid-level player, now that they're placing well and they're going to get that experience, I feel like it's just kind of like they're replacing it, right? Am I using the right word? Like, I feel that if
Mhm.
if that particular player has stopped playing and someone else is coming through getting that experience, even though they're a mid-level player, even though someone could say, man, if this person was still playing, they would win or they would beat this person for sure, but they're not, right?
Yeah,
We
yeah,
gotta we
and
got
we
we
see
we
that
gotta we gotta
happen
work
from
with
time
what
to time
happens now.
from every game. Even back in Street Fighter 4, you had players that were complacent and that weren't getting themselves better. Like I will always compare Joel and Adam, Neon Verte. Like Joel will always be dominant in Street Fighter 4, and then he finally ran into a roadblock against Adam, right? And Adam officially gave him a challenge. And so with Street Fighter 5, you got players who like just chill. They haven't really played the game or touched the game, and they try to get back into it, and then they find out that the person that they normally beat, they were losing to. Yeah, like Alice Dot Dot is a prime example of that, right? Alice Dot Dot, when he first came into the Street Fighter 5 scene, everyone treated him as a joke, and now you can't even treat him as a
Tell us,
joke
well,
anymore
tell us
because
how
he's
you
gotten
really
so
feel.
much better at the game in a much faster pace.
Dang, what was it? Was it that people were treating him like a joke, or it's just like they just when they saw his name in the bracket, they just consider it a free win. Like, what do you mean when you say
Yeah,
treat them as a
So
joke?
like when Alex.Dot first came into the scene,
Hmm.
he played Street Fighter V, but mostly online. Like he still didn't know all the new tech or anything like that. It's similar to what KB was saying earlier about himself. Like he still didn't know much of the game itself. He just played online all the time. When he went to Gwinnett Brawl, he found out how much better the players were, right? And just completely got demolished. And thankfully, same with KB, he didn't get demoralized by that. He went home and he started messaging me, asking me about everything about the community, about the game, like where he could go to learn,
Yes,
like
sir.
yeah, discover tech and practice and what he needs to do to improve and everything like that. And now he's become one of our most prominent players, and he's made a name for himself um, in not even just the Georgia scene, but also in worldwide because he's getting invited to these online exhibitions with other players, and is actually winning those exhibitions. So, you know,
Yeah, and
And
and then
and
usually when you go in any room, you only got a couple types of players. You know what I'm saying? You usually got, and this go back to Alice dot dot. You know, you got people in the bracket that's gonna end up in the top 8 or top 4. You know what I'm saying? And you got players who not. You know what I'm saying? And you gotta make a name for yourself before people recognize you in the bracket. You know what I'm saying? So people not really gonna be pressed about you, like you said, a free win because you ain't made no name for yourself. They don't see you as a threat yet. You know what I'm saying? So you got to make
mm,
yourself a threat when you out here in brackets. Every room got them, you know what I'm saying? Those top players and that people ask them for games. You know what I'm saying? Those are the players that usually go better. Oh, can I get some matches with you? That means you probably doing all right in that room.
mm,
Oh yeah, that's usually the
mm,
big sign from my end for Oscars. Like I can tell from our reboot, right now our community where you know I said go back to the Al's dot because by the time he can't start coming to our tournaments, like we were getting wiped out by him, and especially online when we started doing online tournaments, and everybody like who's this Blanca guy? Who's like what is like it was new for us, obviously. I mean, because we're obviously more recent, but the fact that by the time he started, tournaments on our end for our tournaments, you know, he basically was like he was getting consistently beating everybody in our area, and they were like just outs dot dot. And every time they see his name in the tournament on the Smash GG and stuff, they're like, oh, he's here. Whew, this guy, this is gonna be tough. And so the thing is, for me, I have to learn to try to step up, being TL. Like, all right, let's see how we play against his character, and so forth. So he already, so it's gonna be because what he's gonna see in the long run is gonna be the cycle where like what's happening now. All the guys who was like dominant before then, they may lose interest or something at some point in time, and then they will have the people like the mid-level players step up, jump in, grind and take over, and then again, you know, they gonna start taking over, and then they probably get a little bit better. Even the players who were dominant and so forth to come back, they're used to. They might still they may still remain complacent, but they still might have some trouble. Then the newcomer come up, and now they're struggling against the mid-level players still, but the mid-level players may maybe eventually like become pro, so forth. So, but I say it's interesting to see that cycle because like I said, our end right now, like we're thinking like, oh, Alex is dominant, Neon's dominant, now it's re-up, Dapvip, no, these guys are tough, man. We can't beat these guys. We don't know how to beat them. So it's where for me, my end, I'm trying to say, well, let's start looking at how to beat these guys because we were looking up to you guys, in Atlanta, like y'all are the dominant team, force. We thought like that, we believe that like is that pro player, that best cami in Georgia or beyond or the region, whatever. King Birdie is the KB or is the best birdie in the Southeast or whatever. So ShadowAce is the best Falk Ed player in the area. So now we're starting looking towards y'all But it's interesting to hear you guys say that. Oh, well, I'm not considered that well compared to, Samurai or, or Takedo or anyone from New York or the best in the country. It's really interesting. So to really see that level of hierarchy or level of like who's really good and so forth, is unraveling for me. Like I said, I'm new to it, so it's unraveling a lot of more underneath the iceberg, we'll say.
And there are a lot of elements that play into that too, as
Oh,
well, as far as like player
FGC
growth.
Jesus.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, the honestly, everyone trains and learns differently, for sure. And I'm just going to use KB as an example. Like when KB said that when he came into for Street Fighter Five, how he continuously started doing his research, asking for sets and stuff like that. 14 hours a day. This man was out here grinding versus someone who hasn't done that. They haven't gone into the lab or they haven't studied like that, and they're just wondering why they can't improve or why they can't grow. It's because of worth ethic. It's a ethic um, that you'd have to compete at that certain level. And the reason we're going to, and this may be a little controversial, but the reason I'm going to say this is you guys might not like, to hear this opinion, but I'm sorry, but these players right now who are doing well at these events, nobody, I mean, we can't take that away from them. If they got top 24, they got top 16, they got top 8, they're in top 3, they've earned it, right?
I would
They
also
got
say
there.
that you can't
They
you
got
can't
there.
take that away from the players, but the players cannot let that go into their heads. They cannot say, "Oh man, I just won this tournament. I am the best ever. I am undefeated." No.
And
You
you
gotta
see that.
continue to back that up.
You see that. You see
Hmm.
that on social. You see that on social media and stuff where people.
Hmm.
Okay, that's fine to celebrate. Hey,
You gotta stay humble.
I got this positioning, but there has to be more to it. What's the after
Hmm.
story? What comes next? What's the
Hmm.
next chapter? You
Yeah.
can't just get that position and then just sit on it, right? Oh, I'm top 3 at this event. I'm done. I'm the best now. You gotta continue that worth ethic because you could win. Now that you have the position, you had the ability to get to that positioning. You know that you can get there now. So now you can go into the next tournament even more confident now that you got that position. Oh, I wasn't sure if I was going to do good, or oh man, this person's in my pool. I don't know if I can win now. But now that you got this particular positioning, you're going full steam. You're in the next tournament. As soon as you enter the bracket, who I got to fight first? Who I got to fight? It doesn't matter. Let's go. Your mindset changes. The grind changes. The hustle changes. It depends if you want to keep going. If you want to keep that hunger, you want to keep that passion going, it's up to you. It's up to that particular person. They decide to just sit down or have a seat after their win or whatever, then that's it. Then they'll eventually, the rest will start coming back, and then we're back to square one of them being in that mediocre zone. It's a worth ethic that you have to keep on that particular level. And I know the losses are very frustrating, but it's a part of the package. It's a part of the growth package. But yeah, let me ask you a quick question, Sir Retro, before we dive into the panel questions here that I
Uh
got
huh.
for everybody. So, Sir Retro, so as the May of Making himself, the host of the stream, thank you again for
You're
hosting, man.
welcome.
You and your team, I gotta say this, man. I'm gonna say it every time. I gotta say it every time. You and your team y'all got a big event coming up, right? Y'all have the cherry blossom tournament that's in March.
Correct.
So that's going to be on a much larger scale.
Right.
So how are you and your staff preparing for that event since we're still in the pandemic now? What are the steps or what are the protocols you and your team can do to ensure that if players do decide to travel from out of state or wherever to get to your event, how can they be secure, or how do they know that they'll be okay when they go to your event?
So
How would you ease that tension?
So the number one thing for me, like, because I focus on, I treat the FGC as a family, and as someone you treat as a family, you want to make sure your family is safe, protected, taken care of, everything communicated. So the number one thing is safety, and issue the idea that we recommend having masks, and for example, for our safety protocols are always first and foremost established in every single our event, whether it deal with with weapons, whether it deal with virus, pandemic specifically in this case, or whatever else. Make sure that there's security of some type involved, virtually, physically, or whatever else, especially physically. So that way, the first thing that pops up when you see information on our registration is like, hey, for safety protocols, we're gonna have this gonna happen, we're gonna have this, so that way you don't have to worry about well, I can't come in because this is happening, or I might get sick, or people won't do it. Like, no, because focus on that is the big thing for me. And then I go from there, because what I do try to research outside of the community, especially for those who want to spectate or figure out what's going on. So the thing I always do is listen to other people's concerns, regardless, and make sure that, hey, well, are we gonna have this? Are we gonna have a mask? Or we have some, check-ins, or this, or whatever. I always make sure I listen to them first and make sure that and I communicate with them. That's the second step, is communicate with them effectively. Like, yes, we're going to do that. Make sure we have the resources already established for those safety protocols, and then to go from there. And once that barrier, for the worries and so forth is down, then we handle the other things, the other aspects and resources, as far as the setups and spacing and all that will tie into how to accommodate for safety protocol. So that's my big focus. Before though, we're actually going to have our local tournament on February 26th, this upcoming month, because people have been asking, hey, when we're going to have a local tournament, at least for now, and kind of be our warm up before our big one, because this is going to be one of I think for me it'd be my biggest tournament to ever run, at the caliber of having international competition, since we're expecting people from Japan and other countries like France, because there are other Macon cities named in other countries, and they're aware about this event, because our Cherry Blossom is actually one of the biggest international events that people come out for. So yeah, but focus on safety, communication, providing resources for that, to wear down that worriness and concerns about it. So I always make sure that the community's concerns first and safety come foremost, because that's how I treat it, as people.
So as far as like having face mask,
yeah. So masks recommended. That as far as the situation with the vaccination, we can make sure we ever get tested, get checked for vaccination, so like that as well, and so forth. But definitely, regardless though, even if you're vaccinated, have your mask, that way, because the fact that you have to consider other people's concern about safety and so forth. And looking at CEO as an example, how they handle it as much as they could. We're going to expect that some type of resistance of a sort, or kind of concern or whatnot. But and we can't control everything that happens to every single person, but we do the best that we can, that we monitor whatever, and using the venue to find a way to do that, because it's gonna be more than just the players be there. It'll be a lot of the people who don't really know what's going on that's going to be around the area. So it's going to be not easy to navigate and monitor around it, but at least for our community, we're going to have our safety protocols and stuff with the vaccine and masks taken care of.
Okay. All right. We'll definitely look forward to that event. Should be a good one for sure. All right. And now looking back, yeah, I do have a couple of panel questions that I could ask each of you real quick before we open the floor for discussion for anything you'd like to talk about. Let me start off with Dapvip. First question here. What was the first tournament you attended in Georgia, and what game did you play?
The very first tournament that I attended in Georgia, I kind of preluded this earlier. It was a play and trade tournament in Woodstock, Georgia, for Vanilla Marvel vs. Capcom 3. This was about a month after the game first came out, and I was in college, freshman year at Georgia State, I believe, or sophomore year, trying to remember. one or the other. So I remember my friends and I, we were playing in our dorms, and we were actually pretty decent at the game. Like we were playing each other as well as playing online a lot. And the team at the time that I used was Zero X23 Iron Man. And and I was just spamming Unibeam assist and teleporting with Zero, and I was just hitting everyone with that mix up, and it was easy. And and so we found out about this play-in trade tournament in Woodstock. I believe it was like $150 for first place prize. And I was like, man, let's actually go and see if we can do something with this, right? And my friend, he was actually playing on stick at the time, and he was actually better than me. And I asked him, come with me and we'll see how we do. He didn't want to go because on the flyer it said, Xbox controllers only. And
Oh
or
no.
PlayStation. I think it was on PlayStation. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was PlayStation controllers only. And I was playing on both stick and on pad at first, but he was only playing on stick, so he didn't feel comfortable about playing in a tournament. So he decided not to go. So I went with Musa. I think Musa did come with me. It was funny. He didn't play the game at first though. He just came as a spectator, and I actually ended up winning that tournament. It was kind of crazy.
Do you remember who you played in grand finals?
Yeah, so the person I played in grand finals, he ran a Wolverine Sentinel team. I don't remember what his other character was. And at that time, everyone thought that Wolverine was broken because he had Berserker Slash, which was invincible, and you could just do that nonstop and it would be a free 50-50. And he was just running through everybody, like completely dominating. And the funny part about all of this too was that they did allow us to use our fight sticks. So like when we got to the tournament venue, we saw other players were using fight sticks too.
Oh
And
dang.
so even the guy that I played in grand finals used a fight stick. Okay, so yeah, Musa didn't go. So never mind. I know somebody went with me. I can't remember who. But yeah, and yeah, so I used my fight stick and we met it in grand finals. I thought I was going to lose to this guy. And I actually ended up beating him though. It was kind of crazy. I don't know how I beat him, but I actually did ended up beating him. And I ended up winning the tournament. And it was basically and that event was a qualifier to get into Evo. I do remember that. It was a qualifier
What?
event.
What?
So
Yo.
but the thing is though, that was just the first round. And the second round you had to play online. And
Okay.
yeah, and I ended up losing in the second round. Yeah. So
Oh,
but it
okay.
was
That could
really
have been
cool.
that could have been your lifelong Marvel rival. If he still
Yeah,
played, does you know if he's still
nah, I
playing?
don't remember
That
who it
guy?
was. It was some random, it was the game. Like I said, the game was still brand new, so it was not like we, got each other's contacts or anything like that. And I didn't like that
Right.
was a time period where I didn't even know that there was a scene. Like I didn't know that there was a fighting game community or there
Huh.
was some type of like gathering there people will get together to play games. It was just me and my group of friends that were just playing the game. And I think that like Georgia fighting game community wasn't even the first community that I joined. I think the first community that I
Really?
joined was here in Kansas actually, because
Huh.
after that tournament, I moved. Not moved. I went to Kansas during the summer and spent the entire summer here. And I just went on their Facebook page and just asked, "Hey, is there any Marvel versus Capcom gatherings going on or something like that?" And then they linked me to a tournament here in
Wow.
Kansas, and I said, "All right, cool. I'm gonna come down there." And I actually ended up winning that tournament too.
Man, it was terrorizing from coast to coast, man.
Yeah,
Look
and
at this
so
guy.
then, yeah, that's when they was like, "Oh man, you're actually pretty good at this game. You want to come out to some of our locals and whatnot?" I was like, "Wait, y'all actually get together to play?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll be 100% down." And so, and that's how I found out that there's actually like gatherings for these type of events. And it was funny. I don't know if you guys remember this, but Boss Max, he was the co-host for Final Round along with Shin Blanca, and he lived here in Kansas. And
Yeah.
there was
Wow.
an event here in Kansas where Boss Max was hosting that the winner would actually get a free entry to final round. And that's how I even found out about final round to begin with in the first place. I went to that tournament, actually ended up winning it and got that free entry. And I told Boss Max, hey, I'm actually from Atlanta, Georgia. So it actually worked out.
What you doing in
Yeah.
Kansas?
Yeah,
Yo, that's
yeah.
what's up.
So,
That's,
that was really cool. So that's pretty much how I even found out about Georgia having a FGC and stuff like that. So, it all worked out.
that's what's up, man. KB, same question. What was the first tournament you attended in Georgia, and what game did you play?
My bad, I was on mute. All right, so first tournament, I guess we got to take it back then.
We gotta take
Cause
it all the way back. Yeah.
we gotta take it back because, and I think, well, I'm not from Atlanta. I'm from South Georgia, right? I'm from the bottom of Georgia, Morven, Georgia, down there by Valdosta. So, you know, there wasn't really a scene there, but there was a group of people who took the game more seriously. And I was in that group, but we would barely get up maybe one time a quarter or something like that. And we were mostly mashing buttons pretty much. So I guess my first tournament would have to be, if we want to go to the first tournament, I guess the Fun Factory had some tournament, and that was just a little arcade in the mall in Valdosta. And I would get in those tournaments as a kid. So, but like I said, we weren't really taking anything serious. But yeah,
As a
I
kid, you
would
said
really.
a kid. You was younger KB. You was young KB
I was a
back
kid,
then
bro.
for your first tournament.
I used to get I used to go ass behind the counter. They had a little thing where you could stand on so you can reach the sticks.
Bruh.
So I would get that, and I would stand up there and play it because I couldn't reach the sticks at that time. And I remember one tournament, man. This was like, and it was like we was in tournaments, and like me and my brother probably would end up in, like, I guess I didn't even know it was grand finals at that point, but yeah, grand finals. You know what I'm saying? And and I remember one tournament I was having a terrible headache. I was like, man, I really want to play in this tournament, but I got a headache. So I went in the car and took a nap, and I came back and I was just like a god, man. I was doing combos I didn't even know was possible, bro. And I murdered that whole tournament, man. It was crazy. I haven't had a moment like that again. But yeah, my first tournament would be those tournaments back in, they probably like Mortal
Hmm.
Kombat 2, or like whatever. They did like little but nobody knew what they were doing. Like everybody was mashing. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So I guess that would be my first tournament. And then the first tournament in Atlanta would be one of those, it was a GameStop tournament. Um I can't remember who was hosting it, but I just remember it was in the GameStop. I was talking to all the employees and shit. Just I always be trying to figure out how shit works. So I'll be asking like, well, what's the purpose of this and blah blah blah. But yeah, that was probably my first tournament in Atlanta as far as like getting serious about Street Fighter. But back in the day when I was just playing for the love of the game and competition, it would be those tournaments in the Fun Factory.
It was you and your brother in grand finals, and
Yeah.
for Mortal Kombat. Y'all was
No, no,
playing on the.
that was actual That was Street Fighter Alpha. Ah, man, I can't remember which one it was. One of the Street Fighter Alphas, so
It's
one
one
of
of
the
the
early
alphas.
ones. Yeah, because I was still a kid, so
Uh,
it was one of the Street Fighter Alpha ones, man. I would. That was a crazy match, man. I just can't believe the stuff I did during that match. Like without knowing all of those things, you know, I was just like,
and I
okay,
bet
I
you
was
used
on.
Birdie back then too, didn't you?
Nah,
You
man.
used Birdie.
Traditionally a Ken player, man.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
That's traditionally
oh,
always
so
a Ken
you
player. Ken, I was always like the sidekick character to the main character. Because my brother would always pick the main character. He would play
main character.
Ryu, and
You peeking.
stuff like that. So he picked Ryu, I picked Ken. He picked Terry, I picked Andy. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I used to play games.
Okay. All right. That's what's up, man. You was competing. You went to your first tournament way back in the days, man.
Yeah.
Way
Thinking
back.
back, I was, yeah. I guess I always, and I used to get on the forums and talk shit like those Shuriken when Shuriken was a thing. I used to
Mhm.
like I was in the country or whatever, but I used to get on there and I remember I made a post that was it got like hella pages, like over 100 pages on there or something like that. And it was something about like how do you know you're the best? Because like you got all these people in these pockets of communities that are not linked to our closest, biggest community was Tallahassee. So I would always look at the Tallahassee forums and see what they were doing. But I had made a post and it was just like, it basically the people in big city would say, well, y'all don't even know the same tech we know because y'all don't know it. And the people in the country would say, hell, you don't know what we know because you're not playing us. And that's what it was.
I had a little rivalries, a little rivalry
It
going
was a
on. Yeah.
crazy
Yeah,
forum
it
post
kind of
on
reminds me of what
Sharukin.com,
Metro
bro.
Atlanta had to deal with versus all the Georgia.
Yeah,
Oh
You know,
god.
most
yeah,
of the
that's a
players
thing too.
concentrated in Metro Atlanta. Yeah,
That's a
he don't
thing.
pay any attention to what's going on out.
That's a thing. That's what, and I feel like his
Mhm.
question was only for Atlanta and not the rest of Georgia.
Mhm.
I did that. I said that. I said Georgia. I didn't specify. I just
But
said
y'all
first
say
tournament you
y'all say
attended in
Georgia
Georgia.
up here. Y'all say Georgia
I
up here,
said
but
Yeah,
y'all
Georgia.
mean
but
Atlanta.
Georgia's Atlanta. That's
No,
it.
no. Oh my God. We really doing this?
That's
We really
real.
no.
Just
We're
That's
not
saying.
gonna do
real.
this,
It is
man.
what it is, unfortunately.
I don't consider that. Oh my God. So is that
It
what
is what
people
it's,
think?
it is
So
what it
every
That's
is.
time
real,
somebody say
bro.
Georgia, they're gonna automatically
I
think
mean, that's
Atlanta?
just
That's
in
real.
general. That's like in everywhere. Like
Ah,
Watch
even
this.
here in
Watch this.
Kansas, like you say Georgia is Atlanta.
They talking about Atlanta. Hey, watch this, ShadowAce. Who the top 3 Street Fighter 5 players in Georgia? Just quickly. This is not a deep thing.
no, just okay.
Who the best? Who the best in
Terry,
Georgia? Who the best top
now
3 in Georgia?
currently, are you saying currently now
Yeah,
or
right now.
overall?
Tell me who
Yeah,
the
right
top
now.
3.
Go ahead. I know you're gonna put no need
That's
one.
actively playing?
Bro,
I'm confused.
it's answer
That's
the
actively
question. It's a
playing.
quick one. It's a quick
Just
one.
go
Just
ahead
say
and say
who you
no
think your
need.
3 is. No, don't say nothing there. Let them say it's 3.
Oh my God, 3 that's currently actively pushing buttons right now.
I just want you to know who the 3 best Street Fighter 5 players. Just go.
All right. Well, I'm gonna say based off of who's currently playing now, who's pressing buttons now. I'm gonna say Neon. All right. I'm gonna say Dapvip. All right, and I'm gonna say no need to talk.
Okay.
My top 3.
Okay.
My top 3
I'll
currently.
leave. I'll
Funny
leave
how
my
I'm not
point.
even in
I'll leave my
Georgia.
point alone. But look, exactly.
No,
That
no,
make
I'll
okay,
leave my point
no,
alone.
okay.
wait. Okay. I can address that. But KB, what would you try to say? Go ahead. What were you trying to say?
No, I wa-
I
I
can.
was. I don't think you would have had no need in there if Darius wouldn't have said no need because you don't think of Darius. I mean, you don't think there's no need as a Georgia player. Most people don't know where no need is from. You know what I'm saying? But he's a Georgia player. Like he's from like South Georgia, right? Or mid
Yeah.
or middle Georgia or something. I'm not
Yeah,
sure what
yeah,
area he's
he's
from.
some way South Georgia,
Yeah, you know what
like
I'm
four
saying?
hours
Really?
But
away from
The
Atlanta.
whole
Yeah,
time. So it makes
yeah,
sense why he was in Augusta yesterday. Well, he won the tournament
whole
yesterday.
time.
yeah, he went to Augusta. Yeah, because it's closer to him, I
Wow.
believe.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And
The whole
right,
time.
and it's like if your list didn't start with no need at this point, because who else? No need is the best player in Georgia right now.
Yeah, he is the
No,
best player.
Yes.
Like, he's
he
not
is the
even in
best player
Atlanta
in
though.
Georgia
Correct.
right now, and he's
Hmm.
not in Atlanta. That's what I'm saying. Like
But
it's community out there.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, I think
So
Rabito too. Rabito is one of the good players, but he literally
Oh
does
yeah,
not appear anywhere. So,
yeah,
yeah, he's literally a myth at this point.
yeah. It was crazy when he had came to my when I was doing them at my crib. It was
Yeah, it's
crazy when he
crazy,
came up.
right? Yeah, he would come out to one of your
Yeah,
things, but oh wow. I'm sorry. Let me.
I mean, that was because he said Georgia, right? So when he says Georgia, I'm including all of Georgia, all in Georgia in general that's currently actively playing. I understand where you come. I understand what you're saying, KB. You saying when most people say Georgia, they just think Atlanta and that's it, right?
exactly.
But I'm what I'm stating is all of Georgia, the entire everything, condensed into one. That's how I see it. That's where I came up with my top three. I don't consider Atlanta separate. Like I'm sorry, I do consider Atlanta separate. I do consider its own little thing or whatever, and that just goes for all the regions. Now, if you said top three in Atlanta, of course that's a spicier subject. That's a spicier subject. I don't know if I can really answer that question, but let me ask you this then, KB. Let me ask you this. Based off of that, who is your top three? Who's your top three?
I gotta go. No need. I gotta go. Yeah, I can't count Darius no more. Darius ain't in Georgia. Darius hard in Georgia, but his body is not.
The body
True.
and the physical essence is not here, yo, but the
Mhm.
spirit is, yo.
Where is anybody else playing in Georgia other than No Need?
It's a couple
Alex.
people.
Alex playing.
Alex
You
is
know,
playing.
I'll be honest, man. I don't ever consider that Alex because I felt like he started getting good. Like and maybe my time frames are wrong, but I felt like we weren't going out to locals anymore when he started getting good.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. His rise
So
came
it's
right
like,
when
yeah,
when fewer
so,
players started showing up to tournaments.
yeah. So when you say Georgia, I don't think of him as like one of the players in my top because
Hmm.
he just wasn't a thing. He was just like, okay, he on my way to whatever. So I honestly I'm trying to think of somebody else that's playing out other than No Need. Like
I
for
mean,
real.
Adam still plays. Adam still plays,
Neon, okay, No Need, Neon.
and then
Um
I would also put I would put Demetrius up there as well.
Man, Knowledge
And
don't be playing for real, bro.
I know.
Knowledge just be playing
Okay.
All right,
around,
then.
bro.
Well, then put yourself up there. Then put yourself up
I
there.
don't be playing for real.
Well, all right.
Yeah.
So just for reference, the results from like this August tournament, that Augusta tournament we went to, it was No Need to Talk, Neon, Knowledge
And
Re-Up,
then knowledge you up. And Alice dot fourth.
and
There
then
you
and
go.
then
Well,
and then
there
Drew.
go your answer right there.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
your answer right there.
yeah, and then Alice dot fourth place, and then Drew. Then pretty much the Augusta crew came.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Mm,
But I
came
guess
out
forgot
behind.
about Drew.
that would answer your question because that's offline. That's an offline result. So I guess that answers your question, right? So it's
Yeah,
gonna be what?
yeah.
No need, Adam, and knowledge.
That's the question. But you know what really like bugs me, or cause I felt like we were really we were really competing. Like we had a lot of good players coming to Atlanta to make Atlanta stronger too. You know what I'm saying? We had Carlos, we had a bunch of good players in here at one point. Sean was living here at one point.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
I
Sean
just
living
wonder
here.
where we would
Yeah.
have been if we would have, like, we got a lot of talent here, if we would have just kept sharpening that shit. Like I think Joel was used to focus on, like, I don't know if he used to do it or he used to just talk about it, but like training up the next generation. Like
Yeah,
some
he
people
was
talk
training with
about,
Milo Mass, and I was
yeah,
going over to his place playing the game. I mean, I learned a
exactly.
lot from him too. So,
Exactly.
hmm
And those people focus on the next generation of gamers, you know what I'm saying? And I didn't think of that, the gaming and the FGC as an ecosystem that sharpens each other, so having those players like Alex and No Need, because I remember when No Need was trash. I remember when No Need used to send me on invites and, oh man, I appreciate you playing me, shit like that. You know what I'm saying? And you just shimmy him to death. Now he's the top player in Georgia. You know what I'm saying? But I wish we still had Terrence playing and improving and everybody playing and improving. Now let's see where No Need would have fit into all of that. You know what I'm saying? No, he would definitely have become an even better player, I think. You know what I'm saying? But it would have just been crazy to see how the improvement would have been if everybody just kept getting
all
better and
right.
better and better worldwide, really. But specifically where Georgia would have fit and where would those top 10 lists? I think Darius had put out like a top 10 list 5 years ago or something like
Mhm.
that, with
Yeah, it's
with
completely
crazy results.
changed.
I think I was like 14. Like, what the fuck? 14, bro.
You were not 14.
I was like
You were
14. I
definitely
was
in the
like,
bottom. You were come. I believe what was it? I think I had Joel 1 or something like that.
it was a
2.
crazy list.
Yeah.
He had old buddy up top 3, I think. With a Dreamer Gangster or whatever. I said,
Yeah, Terrence is not even first. Yeah.
yeah, Terrence was like 6, bro. I like this list is crazy, bro.
Outdated.
When was
The
Terrence ever 6? You know
The
what I'm
list
saying?
is outdated. Hey, but no. So KB, you brought up a point that I feel like should be our next topic because you're saying that you want to have that vibe back, right? Like you want to get those players to come back out and get that level of competition, that fierce rivalry, revive
Yeah.
again in
that
Georgia,
old
right?
feeling,
Listen,
So
that
you
that
okay.
know,
old feeling.
so what
Great
do you think?
segue.
So what do you think would need to happen in order for that to come back? Like, what do you think will need to happen to get those players to come back
Okay.
and pick up the game again and people to enjoy that competition?
So we need the stars to align, right?
The
We need
stars to align.
we need the stars to align. We need Capcom to produce a great product
Mm-hmm.
that the consumers will love to play. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Everybody loved or thought they loved this game at one point. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Joel doesn't play now, but at one point Joel was enjoying this game. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? Um, so I feel like okay, once they do have I think they have the product at a place where it's a good thing to love right now. I think if you like Street Fighter 5, you love it right now. You know what I'm saying? If
Mm-hmm.
you liked it, you love it now because
Mm-hmm.
it's in a great spot.
Yeah, but previously it wasn't,
It
and the
wasn't.
mistakes,
Yeah.
and the mistakes that Capcom had made had turned people away from the
Yeah.
game. And like I said before in the
And
past, like people moved on to
yep.
different things and
Yep.
whatnot. So you're right
Yep.
that yeah,
So,
Capcom first needs
so,
to not screw up on the next game, making sure that people were going to truly enjoy it right off the bat, and make
right.
sure that like the things that people enjoy about games these days and ages in Street Fighter 6 or whatever. And
Yep.
um so
So then number two, and it ain't a
no, go
long
ahead.
list. Number two, we need the local communities to come back strong. You know, all of the local communities need to come back strong, and everybody needs to grow their scene. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That's number two. You know, but
How does that happen?
if
How does that
Capcom
happen,
fits the
KB?
game, if Capcom fits the game, it's okay. Say we got okay, and this is what I think gonna happen in the future, right? This is the reason why I was like, okay, I need to start doing something, and that's why I said, okay, let me do this Capcom Cup watch party, just to bring all the players back in the building. You know what I'm saying? So even with that, I'm like, I'm trying to get like Joel, I'm trying to get all the old players, Shin Phoenix, all those players back to just kind of see where their head is around the game. You know what I'm saying? Will they entertain it again? You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm thinking all locals need to do some event to bring all the players back and just to
Mhm.
see, hey, will you entertain this relationship again? Because
Mhm.
that's where it is.
Yeah.
Will you
Yeah.
entertain
So
this
so right
relationship
now
Love-hate
again?
relationship.
Mhm. So yeah,
Yeah.
I get your point with that. So right now we got 404 esports that's Metro Atlanta, and you got the East Coast Augusta tournaments as well,
Hmm.
and then you also have Retros tournaments
Yep.
now in
That's
South
3.
Georgia, and
That's good.
so. But not a lot of Street Fighter players are going out to 404, and most of them that's where they're concentrated at. So I mean, so
We
what reason does 404 have to believe that people are going to come out for Street Fighter 6 if they're not coming out for Street Fighter 5 right now?
Well, I mean,
So,
you gotta
mhm,
bet. I mean, okay, Capcom Cup happens. Like I said, Happy Essence Media is
yeah.
hosting a Capcom Cup watch party. So y'all come out of that February 19th, 7 o'clock. So
Mhm.
stuff like that needs to happen, right? You know what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying? We
Okay,
gotta
yeah.
bring everybody back
You get
together,
motivated. Okay.
right? Now, once
hmm
we
Mm.
get back together, we need Capcom to deliver another thing, right? We need
Mhm.
information on Street Fighter 6 because, relationships can only last so long, you know what I'm saying? If they're in turbulent water, right? Eventually your ship going to turn over whatever, right? So we
Mhm.
got a rocky ship here. Now, Capcom needs to give us some good news for the future. Like we need to see a silver lining. We need to see something, right? So Street Fighter 6 is that news. We need that at Capcom Cup because there's one more season of Street Fighter and people need a jolt of electricity to go another year of this. You know what I'm saying? And even with the possibility of it being online, like that's gonna kill your momentum coming into Street Fighter 6. You know what I'm saying? So they really gotta nail the marketing coming into Street Fighter 6. Anybody in your right mind who knows games know you're gonna be there for Street Fighter 6. That's not a question. Everybody's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be back for Street Fighter 6 to see what it's about at
Yeah,
least.
that's
So
true.
that's not the question,
First
right?
season.
Yeah, it's how do we nurture these players to buying into the ecosystem again after our Street Fighter 5. I can't call it a flop because it
Mm-hmm.
definitely wasn't a flop, but it
The
did
launch was
rub a lot of
terrible.
people the wrong way.
Yeah, right off the bat,
The
Street Fighter 5
launch,
launched
yeah, the
Yeah.
poorly.
launch was just
Like even the
horrible.
beta, like people were still upset with the betas and everything like that. And you remember Chun-Li's jiggle physics and all that, with the character select screen, and then also player 2 couldn't hit rematch. Like player 1 had to give the thumbs up to the match.
Oh, I
Yeah.
remember
Yeah, you
that
remember
back in the
that?
day.
Yeah,
Oh my
like
Yeah.
god.
yeah, the game was unfinished and it was poorly
Yeah.
polished. And uh, so Capcom definitely needs to not screw up this time. Like make sure that they're putting out a finished product. Like
Yep.
even the story mode wasn't even released at launch. They had
Yep.
to release the story mode like
Yeah.
5 or 6 months after the
Yep.
game came out.
Yep.
Um,
So yeah, from there getting great news for Street Fighter 6 and give us a solid trailer. You know,
yeah,
don't wait until summer or the announcement of they should announce the new Capcom Cup tour, give
yeah,
us Street Fighter 6, right?
yeah.
And now
Okay,
after that, after they got a balanced patch coming out in
yes.
March. That thing
Mhm.
has to hit, get the game even better, and
Mhm.
now they might be okay because we're so forgiving
Mhm.
to really get into the last season of Street Fighter 5. I really
Yeah.
hope they stress on this being the last season of Street Fighter
Mhm.
5.
Yeah.
If
So
they
get
do
ready.
that,
People excited.
yeah, because that doesn't lose, right? The people who love Street Fighter 5 are gonna be there because they love Street Fighter 5. The
Mhm.
people who don't love it might come back because it's the last time I got to see this piece of shit.
True that. True that.
Yeah.
All right,
Mm,
man. So now
yeah,
let me ask. Yeah. So sorry, Ace. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. No, say what you was gonna say.
So I was gonna get into another point as well. So netcode has been a big topic, right? So
Mhm.
everyone that plays fighting games have always complained and preached about the netcode. Like netcode has been like if the netcode is bad, we're not buying the game. That's how big of a factor it has become this day and age. And I feel like that is a blessing and a curse for locals, right? So it's a blessing because that means having good netcode will get more players involved in that game. So more opportunity to open the door for players to come in and get participated into those fighting games and get acclimated to the community as well. However, if the netcode is still like really, really good, then that might entice those players to not even really want to go out to locals because then they're going to be asking themselves, why do I even need to go out to this tournament when I can get my experience by playing online? Like, why do I need to go and spend $5 from venue fee when I can just play at home for free? Why do I need to spend gas money or look for parking or spend an hour or two driving and doing all that stuff when I could just play online? So I feel like that is going to be an issue that locals are going to have to figure out on how to overcome when the netcode starts to become good enough for players to say, hey, I can just stay at home to get the same amount of experience.
I don't think that'll be an issue. Think about it. Think about it like this. Um, Gwinnett Brawl. How many players came from online and came out to Gwinnett Brawl in person, or that got it
Yeah,
this?
no,
Or they started out.
Jazz Rap was an online warrior, right? And he
Mhm.
came out
Mhm.
and it was very, very good at Marvel 3 right off the bat. Like he's literally an
Mhm.
online warrior, came out strong, super strong. Element, like who else? I'm trying to think. Like even to see he even though he went to Battle and Brew first, like he was an online warrior too before he started coming out to locals. So yeah, I mean, but yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like online is a good like what you call it gateway to
Segway.
get newer.
Segue.
Yeah, yeah, to get
Mhm.
players involved into the community, into the scenes. But then also, I feel like that could also turn people away to let them just stay at home and play online instead of coming out to tournaments or even just locals.
I feel like one of the one of the other main things is about making the players comfortable that are there,
Mhm.
especially for the newer players who like don't know anybody or first time there. First time
Mhm.
impressions are always a key thing because that affects them coming back to your venue or coming back to your
True.
business. And
Mhm.
if the environment isn't welcoming, they're not gonna come back. They're just gonna be like, oh man, I went, I had a terrible time. No one like really talked to me. I didn't know nobody. But at the same time, it's on them to like try to break the ice and communicate. But not everybody has that social skill. But for someone to reach out and just to talk to a person, and that could come a long way, man. That could come a long way. Hey, I remember you. They'll come back to the next tournament. Hey, remember me? Yeah, I remember you. How's it going? Did you go to the lab? Did you train? Did you study up? This, that, and the third. And you start strike up a conversation with them. That can go a long way, man. People will remember that. They'll remember
Mhm.
that you opened your heart and tried to be nice to them and stuff. But if you got new people at the venue you never seen, they're just standing there, just not socializing, nothing like that. That that kind of can leave a sour taste in their mouth because you probably won't even see them again. They probably be like, "Dang, man, nobody really reached out to me or talked to me or anything like that," and I just felt bad, and I left. And I heard a story about that before. I heard person saying that nobody like really wanted to play games with me or anything like that, and they kind of just stopped showing up overall. So I always, if you can, if people can, just reach out and try to like talk to people and see, just to see where they're at, just try to communicate with them, and just try to make an inviting atmosphere for them all together. And that kind of does go a long way because they're gonna remember that experience. Um, but if they have a good experience at a tournament, they'll tell a friend, they'll tell somebody, they'll network, and then they'll bring their friend to the next event. And you could just meet people that way. It's all about like trying to. The key word was fellowship. We talked about this a bit earlier in the broadcast. The key word was fellowship. Trying to figure out a way to build that community. But when your top players, not just top players, I'm not gonna put the blame on them. Well, when your players are not reaching out to these people or not trying to communicate with these people, that kind of just leaves a sour taste into the mouths of these new players that are coming in. That's just trying to experience and have a good time or play the game. Some of them care, some of them don't. But ultimately, just depends on the people, I guess. Like if they're willing to reach out and say, "Hey, how are you? It's your first time here," stuff like that. They're gonna have memories of that. That person took their time out to reach out to make me feel welcome. Now I'm gonna go tell my friend about the experience I had, and then I'm gonna bring my friend with me next time, and we're just gonna keep playing. And that's how it grows, man. It's the fellowship, man. The environment has to be welcoming, and I think that's kind of one of the reasons why our numbers are starting to get a little our numbers were so low is I would say that is because either people just didn't want to go to events because certain players weren't there, or that they just that or maybe the distance or the location that they weren't comfortable with the area. I mean, it could be a couple of different reasons, but that's kind of one of the reasons why I remember a certain player. He used to play Zeku, and he wanted to get casuals in, but he just didn't really know how to ask. So I remember playing him in casuals, and I was like, "Yeah, man, just ask people if you wanted to play some casuals." And I guess it just never
Mm.
happened. So
Yeah, I
Mm.
see
yeah,
your
it's
point. Mhm. I see your point because yeah, because first experiences or first impressions can turn people away and turn them off. If they're having a sorry time or if they don't meet anyone that can properly show them the way, then they're gonna be like, I don't know if I feel comfortable here. It's all about feeling comfortable. That's what a key factor is to try to get people to come back and come out and and enjoy themselves at events. You're right about that because
yeah,
you can never replicate that experience of playing offline, in an online atmosphere. You just can't.
And
You
you
can't.
you just answered your own question.
Hmm.
You can't. I mean, online is great. I mean, I probably came up online like that's where I grinded. So you can't replace that in person rivalry, that in person feeling, those tournament nerves and stuff that you got to overcome. You just can't. It's a
Different world.
half-hearted experience online. You know what I'm saying? It's
Mhm.
great and I love it, but it still ain't the same as that. That realness. You know what I'm saying?
True. Mhm.
Like
That is
for
true.
for a perfect example, KB, he'll be at a local, right? This man got his headphones on. He's tuned in to the match. He ain't thinking about nobody. He ain't
Nobody.
thinking about nobody. It's the conversation is between him and the game at this moment. Don't talk to him.
That's
Don't
it.
touch don't look at this man. This man is about to do some work. And it's just not the same feeling like if you have that online. I mean, he can't do that online. He's more relaxed. He's chilled at home.
Mm-hmm.
He
I'm at
doesn't
the
have
crib.
that in person tense feeling that
Yeah.
you get
And
because because if you've never felt that way, and I mean, if you play about all of us have collective tournament experience. We've all felt that way. That tingliness, like while we're getting ready to play a match, that kind of like nervous a little bit. And we that same feeling can't be replicated online.
yeah,
That's just
it,
something that is an in-person experience. Like you have to be there. Like I'm the person that I'm sitting right next to. I'm about to play them, right? They're a really good player. I need to win this match so I can move on into the bracket. But the nerves are at an all-time high. How do I gotta concentrate? I gotta focus. It's this, that, and the third. Offline, I have that feeling. Online, it's like, oh, okay, I play this person next. Oh, if I lose, then okay, all right, GG's, and I'm
and,
moving on. I don't have that same feeling anymore.
and,
Like I want that offline, that intensity, you could feel that shit. You'd be
yeah.
like, damn, bro, it's
And,
about to go down right now.
I'll add the fifth example here. But it's like, and I always see a lot of things in the eyes of dating. So that's why I bring up relationship stuff all the time. Y'all rock with my dating explain group on Facebook. Y'all check it out if you want to know about dating. It's everything you need to know is there. So
Talk to him,
uh
KB.
All
Talk to
right.
him. What's going
so you have to look at the investment level that an offline event has versus an online event. You and your online event, you might be in your pajamas, you might, you know, you're very relaxed, like you said, right?
hmm
The investment it takes to get up out your house, put some clothes on, pack your gaming bag, do I have everything in my bag? Drive to the event, socialize and do all that. That stuff is fun, but that's it. That's more time and an investment. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you sliding in a girl DMs versus approaching them in person. You can easily write a message online because you're like, maybe they'll say no, but hey, and I'm just typing some letters and saying what's up. You know what I'm saying? In person, walking up to them, saying what's up, you know, that's a way bigger investment. You know what I'm saying? So you might get more from that experience than just, bulk sending messages online. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel like it
hmm
is. Me going to a tournament is more of an investment. You at CEO, you done travel, you done paid $1,500 to get there and compete. Look at the investment value there. That's offline. Online, I pay my internet bill. I pay my goddamn PlayStation Plus account. What's up? I'm about to troll some motherfuckers. That's you know what I'm saying. That's what you ain't doing that in person. It ain't no trolls in person. It ain't no trolls at CEO because they don't pay money to get there. You know what I'm
Say that.
saying?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, man. That makes too much sense, man. But yeah, that offline is it definitely hits different, man, for sure. But let me move on to a next question here that I got. Um, KB, what is one of the fondest tournament Georgia tournament memories? What is one of your fondest Georgia tournament memories?
Man, that's a tough one, bro. Like, man, golly, man, that's tough for me, man. I really,
Yeah.
it's so many, dog. It's so many memories. It's
Mm,
so many, you know what I'm saying? It's like everything is like jumbling back in my brain. I cannot say one,
I
man,
would
but
say that party that we had for Chris for his going away, when he
oh, that
moved
was
to
dope as
Florida,
hell.
that was
That was
really
dope as
cool.
hell, man.
And
Yeah,
then
shout
those
out to
first two
Chris,
100,
man.
yeah, those first two 100s. that you hosted.
Like, bruh,
It's
first to
dope.
100, bruh. Let me
Oh
tell you
man.
where that idea came from, bro. So we used to do. So I guess online, I used to do these first to 100 death matches. I forgot what I used to call them, but people used to play.
Iron Man.
Yeah, first to 100 matches in Street Fighter 5. It was really crazy and probably not safe health wise to do, but it is what it is. People agreed to play in them, and they were kind of fun. But at that same Evo where I met Marco, I was in a hotel in Las Vegas, and I had my door cracked. I didn't know anybody, so I was just. This was my thought in my head. I'm gonna play. I'm gonna turn the volume up. Somebody gonna hear Street Fighter. Somebody gonna come in there.
The
Right?
classic.
So I got the door cracked. I got Street Fighter going, and who walks in the room? Chris. And we played like 70 games, and I think he lost every one of them. And that also happened at that same Evo, man. That shit was crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that shit was crazy.
Yeah.
I literally left the door cracked, and he came in that bitch.
Funny.
Yeah, that shit was crazy, dog.
Yeah. The same question for you, Dapvip. What is one of your fondest Georgia tournament memories?
My fondest one is probably winning my first Battle and Brew tournament. That would probably be my fondest. I don't know if you guys remember, but Battle and Brew on Roswell Road back in 2013, 12, or whatever. And Gunner was the TO for our events. And man, calling out matches, Funky P streaming the events. And Marvel vs. Capcom 3 is hitting it prime. And we got, Too Much Damage, Roach King, and some brown kid. They all dominating these tournaments, and I'm just an up and comer. Like, I'm one of those mid-level threats, right? Some player that you have to worry about, but you can take him out. Like, so I still haven't won my first tournament at that point. Like, I was decent. Like I told y'all, I won tournaments in Kansas, but when I had moved back to Georgia, I could have won anything. Like, that was when I found out there was real competition, right? Like, you had to worry about Too Much Damage and Roach King. They were the heavyweights. And Battle and Brew, it was right when the NBA Finals was happening, when the Miami Heat were going up against the Spurs. And during that same night, I finally was able to win that tournament after being down 0-2 in losers finals against GGC Grief. And he had me dead to rights. He had all three of his characters left, and all I had was just Iron Man by himself with little to no health. And I made it, and I ran it back just with Iron Man by himself.
That's crazy.
And came back, beat him. And then I had to play Too Much Damage in grand finals. Same situation. Down 0-2. Miraculously came back to reset the bracket. Down 0-2 again.
Boy.
Yo,
This
man refused to die.
Yeah, I just refused to lose.
He just refused, yo.
And
He
then
said no.
and then they had the finals game on the TV, and I'm looking at the finals, and I seen Ray Allen hit that shot. I'm wearing my Miami Heat LeBron James 6 jersey, right? I'm wearing the jersey that same.
No.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah, that was the time of my life. That was probably the most memorable moment that I've ever had. When playing fighting games in Georgia. Like, winning that tournament, man, was probably the most exhilarating feeling, because it felt like I finally broke the barrier, where I finally found that confidence where, yes, I can hang with these guys, and I can, like, win these tournaments and stuff like that. That gave me that confidence boost that I needed, because like I wasn't able to beat GGC Grief until that point, and I wasn't able to beat Too Much Damage until that point. And then I finally found myself starting to actually beat GGC Grief more and more as the tournaments as the tournaments kept going. Like, as more that we came out to those events, I finally found myself, getting top 2 or even winning, and actually breaking that barrier. gave me that motivation and that confidence to say, hey, you know what? Don't forget about me. Like I'm actually a threat to be considered. So, that was really cool. Really, really cool.
Was you still using the Were you still using the same team you're using now?
Yeah, so I was using Dante S23 Iron Man at that point. Dante S23
Okay.
Iron Man. Yeah. And I believe that was even before I even learned how to do the Iron Man Infinite. That was before, discovering that tech and everything like that. So having to beat people, just with skill alone and then, with X23's dirt nap BS.
Oh
But
my gosh.
Bruh.
still though, too much damage was rocking zero. I think he was rocking zero Doom Virgil at that point, and GGC Grief was running Taskmaster. So Ghost Rider, Dormammu, and Taskmaster. That was his
Whoa,
team.
that's an interesting team.
So yeah, so like they were one of our heavy hitters, man. Because like even GGC Grief, he came out to one of our events a long time ago, and he lost to Grief. So, not G. I'm sorry. I mean Chris G. Excuse me. Chris G came out to one of our events, and he lost to Grief.
Dang, grief was it? That was prime grief back
Yeah,
then.
it was
Prime
prime
grief.
Grief, super prime. Like
Yeah.
even he gave Eddie a hard time winning those tournaments. Those would be like him, some Brown Kid, and Roach King. They will all alternate winners of Battle and Brew.
Oh, that's what's up, man. Damn, Battle and Brew, you took that way back, yeah, way back.
Hmm.
Okay, okay, all right. And then I'm gonna just move on to got just a few more questions before we open up the panel to discuss anything. So KB, so just a quick question. All right, so we got Luke, right? Luke just came in. Just came out not too long ago. Do you feel that with all the meta surrounding the character, do you think Luke is overpowered?
Uh, I would probably say yes to that, but I think the reason behind that is because Luke is the future of the game. So I think we're gonna see a lot more characters like Luke in Street Fighter 6. So I think he's more of a transition character. So I think that's why he feels kind of odd in the game. And I think that's how
He
it's
does.
supposed to be set up. Like he's supposed to, like I think in Street Fighter 6, they're gonna give a lot more players more tools, and then they could just be creative with the tools. And I think people might like that. Like instead of taking away stuff and me worrying about that, just give him like Luke got hella tools. Like he can control spacing, he can goddamn, he got DPs, he got invincibles. I think he got a low confirmable move. He got hella tools. I think his walk speed is okay. It's hard to tell his ranges because that forward movement, which I thought that would be a negative with the character at first because I thought he would be easy to whiff punish because of the forward moving normals. But I mean, it's hard to space him out because of that, I think. So, I think
Basically,
just
what you're saying is that because he has tools of all the other top tier characters in the game.
Everything's
well, I
combined
Yeah,
think,
in
yeah,
one pot.
I
yeah,
think in Street
basically.
Fighter 6, you're gonna be people are characters gonna have more tools to work with. You know what I'm saying? So it's like everybody gonna be top tier, everybody gonna be OP, and I think that'll give players the creativity they feel like is missing from Street Fighter 5 because it
Hmm.
just go in and you know what I'm saying. And if you don't know what the go in is, then it's over. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So, but I
But yeah,
think
like
I
you
think
said,
that's the future.
yeah, like you said, that normals that everyone thought that would be a hindrance for Luke would make him, be a weakness. I'm like, but put in the hands of a player that's
Hmm.
very good with their spacings, like that hindrance, that
Danger.
weakness just doesn't exist anymore.
Hmm. So
Yeah. The
yeah.
same question. That Vip.
Hmm.
For as far as Lucas concerned, do you think Lucas overpowered at the moment?
I it's hard to say if he's overpowered. I would say he is top five though. He's definitely like what KB said. Like he has basically all the tools that you would need in order to succeed in Street Fighter Five, and his Fireball game
Mm,
is the best in the game. I don't think any other character has a better Fireball zoning game than Luke. He can literally just win by just throwing fireballs the entire match. A
yep. The
character that can
speed.
do that is a problem. And um, but the thing is though, he's definitely not unbeatable. Like there are characters that can get in. Ooh, It can like shut him down, and you can if you're smart about it, you can make him with his normals, and his normals are highly whiff punishable. So just because like if you're playing against a player that is very good at spacing, it's not like they're going to always be perfect 100% on it. So
Right.
when you have your moment to pounce, you better strike that moment. And so Luke is an interesting character because yes, Capcom did say that that's what they're going to be developing around in Street Fighter 6. Um, I don't know if um, it's going to be. It's I think what they're trying to say is that the mechanics that Luke had brought in, like with V Trigger, like he's the only character with the V Trigger that can recharge over time. I think they're going to keep that mechanic for Street Fighter 6. So that was very interesting to me because, like, yeah, if you don't use V Trigger, it actually goes up. So again, it is that esports mentality that Capcom is trying to bring in into Street Fighter, where it's entertaining because it makes you force action. Like the opponent has to be like, "Oh wait, he's recovering his V trigger. I got to take action. I can't just sit there and just let him continue to throw fireballs at me. So I got to, make something happen." And that's what Capcom is incentivizing. So, um,
And that's to add on to that. I completely agree. I feel that Luke is a glimpse of what Street Fighter 6 is going to look like. A character that forces offense when V trigger is activated. Like you have to come to him to hit him to make this V trigger go down or go away, or else if he doesn't use it, it just sits there forever, right? And I feel that Street Fighter, if this is what Street Fighter 6 is going to be a preview of, where the game is going to force the scramble, force the approach on offense. At first, I thought that the game would have like a selectable, like kind of fighting style type system, like meter wise, like maybe think about it like Capcom versus SNK 2, like you had different grooves and stuff like that. I feel that
mhm,
that's kind of like how Street Fighter 6 might play, where they have like a different set of systems. Like maybe they have like a classic Street Fighter 2 mechanic with just like one very powerful super or something like that. But I feel like it's going to be
mhm,
something with meter. I feel like it's like definitely going to be like you have to choose a different type of system for your character.
mhm,
So I don't think V skills are going to come back. For Street Fighter 6, I don't think we'll get any more V skills. I think they're going to be tied to these new systems, these new meter type of systems that
mhm,
we might see. And that kind of gives me, like, playing against Luke kind of gives me an idea of what 6 is going to feel like where you have to force the situation. You can't really sit back, or else Luke gets the advantage unless he uses his V trigger, and that's where Luke becomes extremely powerful and scary because based on how the player plays the character, because there's different ways to play the character, right?
mhm,
Um, he has different V skills, different system V triggers and stuff like that. So it's different ways to like approach with the character. Um, you know, and that's kind of how I feel overall on how Street Fighter 6 is going to be. It's just going to be different meters. I feel like V skills are gonna be gone, but they're going to be tied to these new meter type systems, like different ones. But SirRetro, same question to you. Do you think Luke is overpowered? And since he represents Street Fighter 6, how do you think Street Fighter 6 is going to play?
Um, One, I don't think he's overpowered, but he's a very strong character. Because the thing is, I'm actually training some character. Yeah, I'm training with some characters that actually could beat him. I want to say, at the top of my head, and probably my best guess, maybe Urian is a character that really can deal with him because of the mechanics, even with the unique mechanics. But also the same line with Luke being unique. Um, I want to say my idea is Capcom's intentions, because Street Fighter Five is already currently more of a offense oriented, have an offense oriented system. over time, you saw how the fact that if you get a jump in, for the most part, and your opponent fails to do so, you get heavily rewarded. Where defensively, if you anti-air or if you do like certain moves or something like that, you don't get much out of it. And having someone like Luke who has the solid tools of no, he has anti-air, but you don't get too much. But then the fact that you have it where you switch the offense with the anti-air, then you have, oh, well, you space enough, now I can zone, now I have the control. But then with the V trigger system, on top of that is where it forces Capcom is pushing towards a more offensive where you can't just always sit around. Like the concept of turtling is not going to be really. It's been more or less of not much of a thing since in Street Fighter V. Because even with Guile, who's a very defensive character, he's scary because now you have a moving wall who can move forward while crouching. So you have like the defense characters or keep with characters, Dhalsim, Guile, or Manat, and so forth. Even those characters transition to Street Fighter 6, they're gonna have these more offensive tools that can make them even scarier. When they even especially the Silken character defensive side of it, and Capcom, as far as looking probably considering, like I said, if you're going to look at the esports, not only the concept of the players, but the viewership and the engagement of like spectators, because people don't seem to be a big fan of I say one quarter, throw fireballs all day, and or this player's not pressing any buttons for like 10 minutes, he's blocking the whole time, even though it's a legit strategy and whatnot. But now they want to see that engagement between players to do more, because like, hey, if you don't sit around, if you let this person sit around, he's going to gain more. He or she's going to gain more, and in whatever new system they'll get rewarded. And so you have to force to shut them down. So you have to force to engage more. So where the Luke is that, that small speck of what you're going to see is interesting, because to see this character, in the game, and even for the story, because the story is supposed to be set before Street Fighter 3 and actually also after Street Fighter 3, because there's some hints about it. So even I'd say the story plays a role of how the gameplay mechanics going to happen. So like I said, we might not have a V system in that one, but it will be a system that where Luke is showcasing a bit of, that's going to have it where it's a more offensive, like more engaging type of system. We might still have the defense there. Hopefully it'll be where it's still there, and hopefully defensive characters or people who like to play defensively can still get some advantage here and there. But it's going to be where you have to engage more, because now you have the system that's going to be rewarding for it. Hey, your opponent trying to wait you out. Oh, that's on them. They're going to really going to get screwed over because of that. So Luke is a perfect example. You're trying to okay, I can wait him out. Well, Guile, I can sit here. Nope, you can't turtle or wait him to come through. It's like, nope, I don't get rewarded for you to try and be too defensive. Almost like a Guilty Gear-ish concept, which is interesting. So I'm really seeing that I think you're gonna see a lot more engaging. You're gonna see a lot more, the concept of timeouts will be more or less it'll be very, very little to none as a result. So it's gonna be really interesting. And as far as how fast paced it may be, even someone like Akira, who isn't in the game, but she has her own unique mechanics from rival schools. It really is it's a more than Luke, but Luke is that set of how the system is going to be played out in the future.
Yep, I feel that. Yep. To add on to that, yep, I do agree. As far as the offensive wise, because he has a V skill that's kind of like the unique, where he has a counter grab type of V skill that he's able to get an attack off of, and I feel that that's going to be universal to like every character, in Street Fighter 6, because in Street Fighter 4 they had what, focus attack. They had the focus attack. Everybody had the focus attack, and Street Fighter 5, everyone had their own unique V skills. Now in Street Fighter 6, I feel that there's going to be something similar to focus attacks. Maybe like using medium punch, medium kick will allow you to do like some kind of counter or something for grabs or something like that. based off of just what Luke's skill set has.
Mhm.
But yeah, for Luke to be the pioneer for 6, we're definitely getting more information. I feel that um, but the last patch is supposed to be what, in March? I think KB said.
Yeah, March or
March,
spring.
right? For
At least
the
it's
final.
sometime
That's the
spring.
Yeah.
that's the last one we
Okay.
know about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So then at Capcom Cup, we might get information about when they're gonna try to do something like a teaser or something for Street Fighter 6. But the last big patch is in March, and I think I think at that particular time, we can get a good event. I feel like there can be a good event going for that, since it's the last patch, right? It'll be like the game will kind of be like fresh again, kind of, because there'll be system changes, the characters and stuff, and people are going to want to try to pick it up maybe one last time, or am I dreaming? Do I need to
I
wake
mean,
up? I need
yeah,
to wake up.
Yeah, that's why I did the
yeah.
Capcom Cup watch party, man. Gearing up for them to release that patch, and then do a
Uh,
do a event where what I really want to do is do an exhibition with the old school players, Joel, Ice Fat. I want to bring back all the game from season 1, do some exhibitions
season
and
one
get them
crew.
back in the game, man. That's what
That'd
I was
be
trying to
interesting.
do. Yeah,
That would be very
That would
interesting.
be.
Hmm. Yeah. I,
I ain't see some of these people playing like forever.
exactly.
I ain't seen him playing forever, man. I ran into the Shin Phoenix in ranked, but I mean, I guess he's still playing. He's still playing his Vega. That was like early in the morning before I had to go to work, and I was surprised as hell. I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute, Shin Phoenix? I ain't see that name in forever." But I guess I mean people are playing, but they're just not as not tournament wise, like more casual, I would say. But yeah, that sounds like a wonderful idea, man, and definitely keep me in the loop on that, KB. I definitely want to get in on that. Let me see. No, one more question before we open it up to whatever you guys like to discuss, since we're running a little late on time here. So this one is kind of a little spicy. It's a little spicy, I'll admit. It is a little spicy, but this is what this podcast is for, to express yourself, right? To get it all out there. This question, and I'll start out with that Vip. I'll start out with you, that Vip, on this one.
All right, I'm
What
ready.
do you? All right, you ready for? You sure? Okay. All right, here we go. All right. So what do you think of the current Street Fighter community scene here in Georgia?
The Street Fighter community in Georgia, I admit that it's dropped off from what it used to be, unfortunately. And I mean, that part of it is mostly because of the COVID pandemic. It's kind of prevented people to get together and play sets as well. But even before COVID, like the numbers for our events, like Gwinnett Brawl, were dwindling, were going down as fewer and fewer people showed up to our scenes. And like what we were discussing earlier, is partly because Capcom dropped the ball on the decisions that they made, with Street Fighter is becoming less and less fun for players to play, so they just stopped playing it. But then, um, but now you really don't see anybody come out to play Street Fighter 5 anymore. Like, I know I talk to Greg often at 404 Esports. Like, even when I was visiting Georgia last year, like trying to get people to come out to 404 to play Street Fighter with me, not really many people came out. So uh, it's very hard to say that. It's discouraging. Um, and I'm really worried because I do want the scene to continue to evolve and grow. And like what we were already talking about, saying we have so many talented players in our community and in the game itself. It's just a shame to see if it goes to waste and not seeing any of our players step up to the plate to get top 8 at some of these majors. I mean, I just witnessed Jazz Rat getting first place at Dragon Ball Fighters at Frosty Faustings, right? And I felt like
Mhm.
if No Need or Adam or even Terrence or even Knowledge Re-Up or even myself went to Frostings, any one of us could have got top 3 or top 8 in Street Fighter 5. I mean, even KB, I felt like if he went to Frosties, he could have got top 8. So I'm hoping now that, like, I think one thing that needs to happen is for the pandemic to die down, which we'd have no idea if or whenever it's going to end, to be honest with you. And our country has not done a very good job at preventing the spread, unfortunately. And like all I can do is just pray and hope that uh, we can get back to some normal, something normal when Street Fighter Six or whatever comes out, to get people to come back out and play games again. So
Yeah, and I was also thinking about the next generation, or of course there's gonna be new players, like brand new, fresh players. I mean, the next KB is coming through in Street Fighter Six. The next Ice Effect is gonna be in there. The next Terrence, like there's gonna be new players coming into the scene to play, but for the most part they're going to be online. But they're also going to wonder, well, where can I throw these hands offline? Like, where can I go to play offline? How do I get in touch with people? Um, and Twitch is a great platform because eventually people are going to find out. People are going to find, if someone's streaming that they're from, and they find out they're from like the same state, they might ask or reach out and say, "Hey, man, do you know of any locals that are in the area? I just moved to Atlanta, or I'm fresh out of school or something. I'm just trying to find a place to play like that." They're going to be the next generation. Like the next generation is coming through for Street Fighter Six, and we just want to make sure that there's a place for them to play so they can get their skills nurtured. Because otherwise, it ends there. It ends there. But KB, let me ask you the same question. It's the same $1 million question. What do you think of the current Street Fighter community scene here in Georgia?
Mm, I mean, it's pretty sad, comparing it to the past. But everybody's still here. Everybody, just because they not playing, Street Fighter still in their head. They still comparing every new game they play with Street Fighter, or they still plugged in. So I don't think it ain't dead. The heartbeat just a little low right now. But last season of Street Fighter 5 and Street Fighter 6, they're gonna be we're gonna hear from them by the end of the summer, especially when offline events start coming back.
And slowly, you're starting to see these events coming back up. We just had There was a Augusta guard break last week. We got the Southeast Mayhem that's coming up next week. You know about that, KB?
Nah, I'm not plugged in.
You're not plugged in, you're not plugged in on some Southeast
Somebody, yeah,
Mayhem. But
definitely
that's
hit me up about that.
in that's in Trifton, Georgia. It's in
Uh,
Trifton, Georgia. I don't know
Trifton,
how long that. Yeah, in Trifton, Georgia.
Tifton.
That
Tifton.
Trifton, Georgia.
Oh,
It's
Tifton. Oh yeah, yeah, man.
Is it
I was
Tifton or
born down
Trifton?
there. Tifton, sir. You see
Tifton.
there?
It's Tifton,
People,
Georgia.
people,
I said
people in
Trifton. He's like,
Atlanta
wait a
don't
minute,
even
Trifton.
try to pronounce cities outside of Atlanta correctly. That's how they treat people outside of
All
Atlanta.
right, so it's in Tifton, Georgia. You
Yeah.
ever heard of Tifton, Georgia?
Yeah, man. I was born in Adel, Georgia. That's like 20 minutes, 30 minutes away.
Hey, there you go. So we
South
gotta
Georgia.
get you plugged in on that. I can send you the link for it,
Yeah,
the
shoot me a
sign up
link,
link
man.
and stuff.
I'll see what's
I
going on.
got you. I got you. Check that out, man. But yeah, that's next week. And I think in March is the cherry blossom. I'm going to check that out. Um, and see what happens there. But yeah, man, I kind of see events starting to take notice. They're starting to take notes on what's going on. Of course they're monitoring the situations as far as the pandemic goes and just making, being careful and things of that nature. But I kind of see it. More events going to try to reach out and do the same thing. I know Texas Showdown announced that they're going to go ahead and run they're running their event now versus before. What, last year you saw a lot of cancellations. You saw a lot of that, but now you're starting to see these events say, "No, let's go ahead, let's do this," right? And of course, you still got people on the back end saying, "Look, man, it's still not safe. I'm not going. Good luck with everybody. If y'all gonna go, y'all go." Stuff like that. You still got those people out there that just being a little extra cautious, which is fine. but I feel like events are slowly, maybe starting to come back this year. I think this is the year where we're going to see more organizations start to do things. Now, as far do I think do I think they're gonna run Evo? Again, there's a new director of Evo now. I don't think they would have put him in a position just to say we're gonna cancel it and do it online. I feel like they're gonna do something offline with that.
I thought they already
But
announced Evo 2022.
they they announced it, but I'm sorry, like I'm talking about as far as like canceling
Oh,
it. Like
offline or not?
yeah. If it's gonna be yeah,
Yeah,
but
CEO
I think we're
already
gonna see
announced
that.
too. CEO already
Yeah,
announced. Yeah,
see, you starting to see
offline
there's
too.
starting to be some light at the end of the tunnel, man. That's what kind of made me think about Final Round. I was thinking about Final Round the other day. I was like, man, it has been radio silent for like the last 2 years. I was like, man, I don't think Final Round is coming back, man. But I mean,
Well,
hopefully
final round was canceled before that though, right? Then he announced the last final round before that. Did he come back with the final round after that? I
he
can't
it
remember.
origin it originally I think the year before the pandemic, I think the year before pandemic was rumored to be the last one, but there was announcement that they were going to run it
Okay.
year later, and that was the year it got canceled out because of the start of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Now that we're a few years into it, I was wondering, man, is there going to be something announced in regards to that pretty soon? So, do you think final round's coming back, Dapvip?
Um, I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't have any hints. Unfortunately, Larry and I, we are good friends and we do talk about sports all the time. But I leave the final round business all to him. So, um, I would say it's a 50-50 that there could possibly be another final round. However, I don't see any reason for Larry to want to host Final Round except for just the love of the community and the love of the fighting games, in which he does have a deep love for it. So, but now that he has a son, him and Shonda are taken care of. I don't know, man. Their priorities seem to be him first and foremost right now. So, it's hard to say.
It's hard. That's a hard call. That's a hard call to make at the moment. Um, okay, okay. Well, I do appreciate the honesty, from you gentlemen, for the nice discussion, and definitely appreciate all the feedback and the answers to all the questions. We're over 2 hours here into that, and I didn't even pay attention to the time until I looked at
Yeah,
my computer.
What?
I had to wake my
yeah.
mouse from it was sleeping. I was like,
I was
dang, we
like
over
gonna
two
say, it's
hours.
like, man, I don't know if I'm gonna be saying anything about free talk because I
Yeah.
said all
Yeah,
I
bro.
could say.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I'm thinking, man. We had a good conversation, man. So with that being said, we'll go ahead and get this wrapped up here, so let you guys can finish enjoying your evening.
Yeah.
Um, final thoughts, that bit.
Nah, not really, man. I thank you guys again for having me, man. It was so fun talking to you all. I'm here watching football and trying not to get distracted, but I still enjoying myself just even being in this conversation. Um, Also, I'm gonna give myself a little plug as well. Check it out every Wednesday. I've been streaming out some exhibition matches between some Georgia and Kansas players. Street Fighter Five, like I said, I've been trying to get some mid-level players, some little moments to shine, and so right now it's been very exciting. All the matches that I've had so far have been pretty close and
And then
entertaining,
what?
and
And then
so
where can the people find you at? The good people can find
yeah.
find you at.
So I have a Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/DAPV1P. I had deleted my old one, so they won't let me reuse my name, my old name. So DAPVV1P. And then also, I'll be streaming my exhibitions on Wednesday at twitch.tv/DAPVIP, Dapvip. So, yeah, so that's where you can usually find me at. So,
Okay. All right, KB. Any closing thoughts?
Oh man, good episode, man. I appreciate y'all inviting me on, man. I hope y'all keep doing this thing, man. I'll be tuned in every time. So I encourage all the listeners to do that. Yeah, man. Hey man, I appreciate all y'all, like all the part y'all played for me getting into FGC and gaming, man, because it was really a childhood love of mine that I had kind of lost connection with, man. So I appreciate y'all being. I'm glad I joined the Georgia fighting game community and than anyone else's, man. So appreciate y'all boys for that. As far as announcements, man, for me, man, like I said, we got the Capcom Cup watch party February 19th. That's at 404 Esports in North Atlanta. So y'all make sure y'all come out and rock with us. I know they canceled Capcom Cup, which is a bummer. I'm pretty sure he had this on the list of questions or something like that, and which is a bummer. But we're still gonna try to get up and enjoy whatever matches we do get. Like I said, I'm looking to do another event in March or further out to kind of bring back the community, do some exhibitions, bring back. I just kind of want to send Street Fighter 5 out on a good tour, you know what I'm saying? Because I felt like it did a lot of things. They tried some things with Street Fighter 5. So I appreciate Capcom for doing that. So let's give Street Fighter its flowers, and let's rush him out the back door before wifey get home, and hopefully Street Fighter 6 is wifey, and we can fall in love again. You know what I'm saying? Also, I've been streaming every Monday, not last Monday because it was my birthday. But I've been streaming every Monday on Twitch. So y'all rock with me. Happy Accidents Media. That's the new Twitch account. So you won't find me The Life of KB. You find me Happy Accidents Media, where we have a gaming portion called Ham Gaming, where we're gonna be releasing some original content and stuff like that. So y'all come rock with us, man. We're gonna be bringing some real quality to all of our streams. So y'all check us out.
For sure, man. And so the Happy Accidents Media. So that was you then. That was you in the
That's
chat.
me.
So there's no more. There's no
Hi.
more KB. There's no more Life of KB. This is
Not on
now Happy
Twitch.
Accidents Media.
Not on Twitch.
All right.
You talk to Happy Accidents. Talk to Ham. That's the short. Talk to
Ham.
Ham.
Talk to Ham, yo.
Talk
All
to
right. Yo,
Ham,
you
bro.
gotta go ahead. You gotta go ham to talk to Ham, yo. I
We gotta
got you.
go Ham.
All right. All right, bet, man. Thank you guys so much for joining us again. SirRetro, do you have any closing words or statements?
Yeah, like I said, from looking at my perspective, looking from those who are pretty much now become more veterans of the scene. I'm actually looking forward to seeing hopefully the Street Fighter scene to grow, and that Capcom definitely makes the right decisions to invest into a good future for the scene in a good way, not only just in Georgia but as the worldwide, and that Luke is an interesting character. A lot of people have fun with him, and the teaser that they getting a bit from what's going to happen in this in the future of Street Fighter. I think it'll be fun, and I think a lot of the events with the pandemic, especially the online, the discussions, the feedbacks, I think they're starting to learn, and I think they're going to be putting us up on a better path, at the many years. But of course, last but not least, we are before the Cherry Blossom event. We are going to have our local tournament on February 26th, back at Reboot at 5:30 and at 5. Of course, we're going to Street Fighter 5, Tekken 7, Guilty Gear, and actually because it comes out a week before, we're going to have Kingdom Fighters 15 to be featured. So we actually want to have a little local tournament before our big one, which takes place in March 19th to the 20th, the Cherry Blossom Isekai, and going to be Street Fighter, Guilty Gear, Tekken, and Smash Brothers, which is $200 in each pot already set, and more as we get more people to come through. So I'm looking forward to handle that big event. It'll be a super local, if not regional, but definitely I look forward to that task. And of course, we have our Reboot Run It exhibitions. I've been trying people on Dapvip's exhibitions, and I like how I think that engagement is what's helping people to get still involved with competitive scene, not only for just Street Fighter but other games, but definitely with Street Fighter. I'm glad that between mine and Dapvip's exhibition series is really getting people more engaged, not only from just our own local, but outside for like other cities, other regions, and states, and so forth. So yeah, y'all guys, definitely for the future of the scene. That's a shout outs to the newcomers. Shout outs to people in Columbus, Savannah. Those scenes that they have actually been starting up back in again, and they started to do their own tournaments and everything. They've been engaging with some of ours as well in other cities. Shout outs to Augusta and Atlanta still being the stronghold, veterans and legends. Shout outs to ShadowAce, Dapvip, and KB for being pioneers of for the scene, and hopefully that will continue the torch and keep it burn, if not the same, but even brighter. So thank you.
Appreciate it, SirRetro. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Well, good. Thank you again, everybody, so much for agreeing and doing this, for coordinating with us. I know reaching out to people could kind of be a pain and trying to coordinate to get people to get this going. But for those, you guys responded, and I definitely do appreciate that. If I ask, it's just a simple yes or no. I'm just gonna throw it out there, yo. If you can do it, you can do it. If you can't, you can't. And I just move on, yo. And I just move on with my life, yo. Why do y'all make this so hard for me? Okay, let me stop. All right, but I want to thank you guys so much again for agreeing to come on to and doing this. This is very insightful information, especially for those who are kind of newer to the scene. You guys, I get to hear stories about how things used to be, or what experience happened in the past, and they can kind of correlate that with what's going on with them right now. So I think a lot of good information was given out here. So since this was set episode 2, we definitely want to see about doing maybe a 3 or a 4. We just gotta get the people who are willing to lend their voices and talk to us. Me and Retro, we're down to host. I mean, if you guys if you guys can, and you guys want to contact us and coordinate, and we can get you on the next episode. Episode 3, we might get. We might get some knowledge re-up, some big boss CP. We might get some neon verts. I mean, there's just a lot of different. There's a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
players in our scene that I feel like we can hear from. We can hear from, and I think that their voice is just as important as anyone else's. So thank you again, Dapvip, KB. Definitely do appreciate that, man. Happy Accidents Media, no longer Life of KB. So Happy Accidents Media, KB. He already did his plug about where to reach him at.
Yes,
That
sir.
Vip, he's enjoying this. He enjoying this Sunday football. So so shouts to that Vip on that. And with that being said, I've been ShadowAce. This has been SirRetro. We out the door for the evening. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in. All the new viewers, thank you for following the channel, and we'll catch you on episode 3, SirRetro.
Yep, definitely indeed. Twitch.tv _retro08. And then we'll have we'll have the episode uploaded to Reboot Retrocade Gaming, the more official channel. Hopefully, if not tonight, then tomorrow. So thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you have a blessed night and be safe.
All right, good night. Take care, y'all.
Yeah. Peace.